Guys, we are going to be doing Allcraft now. We have Preach on. We're going to be talking about the last parting thoughts about BFA and going into Shadowlands and what you need to do to prepare and everything that you need to know. Gentlemen, it is time for us to do Allcraft. Give me just one moment and I'm going to go ahead and set everything up. Okay. 1 second and I'll be ready. Ask about the new hair. Okay, dude. All right. Give me 1 second. Let me go ahead and get started. We're going to start it up.
Oh, shit. Wait,
Yo,
Preach, you might be frozen. Oh, I think Zach's here.
Yep.
Okay. Did you read the messages?
Which one?
Because I heard in your stream you were like, hey, boys, listen, we're not going to talk about the hair. We are. That's actually all we're going to talk about.
Okay, good. All right, great. So, where's Preach then?
I think he froze.
Okay.
So
that's actually good because now I'll have time in order to reset everything, and I'll be able to get this fixed. Considering I'm such a professional streamer that knows how to do things ahead of time.
Yeah, I heard your whole speech about reacting being hard.
Yeah, that is true, isn't it?
Yeah. Getting over denial is pretty hard too.
Is it really? Wow, I had no idea.
Yeah, it'll take you a while. You hear this?
What is that?
That's the sound of hair progress.
Really?
Yeah, I'm gonna take mine real quick before we.
Oh my god! Okay, all right. Give me a second. Let me add in all the windows here. I don't know why the hell anything's not showing. I'm actually gonna try this time to not leak something on Discord. I know, like I've been doing that a lot. I'm actually gonna try something different and not leak something. It might be kind of boring for the viewers, though. I would say.
Yeah, I'm gonna put some like really top secret information in there, so definitely don't let them see that because I don't think they even know about that.
Yeah, that's good. I'm glad that you're doing that. All right, let's see. I can get this ready and then move this down here. All right, good. It's actually good that Preach is late, so now I don't feel like as much of an idiot for
he's not late. He literally just can't. He's trying to reconnect right now.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, he was here before you were here. We were actually talking about stuff.
Okay, great. So I'm actually just a piece of shit. Okay, I understand now. That's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, and let's see here. All right, we should be good. There it is. And we'll go ahead and shrink this down and shrink that down. There we go. What?
You leaked it.
Leaked what?
Never mind.
Well, I didn't read it. I wasn't paying attention. What did I do, man? Twitch Prime. Yeah, right. People don't even sub anymore, man. They stopped subscribing. It's sad.
Wait, really?
Yeah, people don't subscribe anymore on the streams because they found out.
Because you're a multi-million-dollar org owner.
But we weren't supposed to tell them that, so they could still think that yeah. So like, cause yeah, that would help me. Yeah, real fucking funny, guys. Real funny. All right.
Stop telling me to sit down. Look, they all just subbed.
Yeah, hilarious. Fucking sellout. Yeah, of course, man. McConnell the show for you. That actually is true. Like, yeah, McConnell hasn't been doing any of the Twitch Prime sellouts. It's quite sad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that is actually true. Yeah. That McConnell made you.
Well, he did. I mean, like the Twitch Prime things. I mean, it did me a lot of favors. I'll say that for sure. I think that McConnell, like 1 month, probably got like 5,000 subs for me. I'm not even kidding. There's a lot of fucking time.
McConnell has probably made, like, not just on your stream, but probably in general, has made Twitch more money than any other streamer. Like, he's like Shroud and that one dude who got banned for stream sniping. He's like them combined.
Okay, that's actually probably true. Yeah. I could see that.
So Preach is restarting his computer.
Okay.
Because I think his camera's just not getting picked up. Did you talk about that? Did you talk about the drama?
Oh, about like XQC, the stream sniping stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really a lot to talk about, right? I mean, I don't know. It seemed like just standard procedure. Nothing too crazy.
I didn't even see what happened because I was so busy working on all the stuffs.
They tried to do like a fall game. They tried to do a Fall Guys game, like another Fall Guys tournament, man.
Oh, people love that game. Yeah, that's the most popular game on Twitch.
Yeah, they love that so much that they queue into the lobbies with the people that are competing and grab the shit out of them. So XQC does it as a joke to Lupo at like one of the end of the matches, or like the one of like the last matches, and like obviously he stream sniped him, right? He even showed that he stream sniped him. He did it as a joke, and it's just stupid, and he got in trouble for it. That's about it. I mean, there's nothing too crazy.
To be completely honest, that's all I've heard. Right? That was the only thing I heard about it. I understand how XQC thought it was funny, but I also understand how people.
Because it was funny.
But I understand why, that's against the rules, like when you agree to do. The thing is most streamers don't read what they agreed to, like 90% of the time.
Well, you could have just stopped, don't read.
That's why we, true. S-Fan actually admitted that he's never read a book in his life on a stream yesterday, which, trust me, I watch everybody's streams now because of OTK, and that would be the only thing that would cause me to bulb. The stuff you guys say, oh my God.
Really? Is that right?
Like sitting there, I'm like talking to like giant companies. They're like, man, we love everything OTK's doing. We cannot wait to work with you guys. And they're like, so what's everybody's social media? And then we throw up everybody, and they're like, never stop, always going big dick. What does that mean? And I'm like, oh God.
It's simple. It just explains itself, man. What's wrong with that?
Everybody's like, Rich, why haven't you streamed in so long? It's like, because I'm crying. I literally,
we have to explain that to the brands.
I have to fucking explain you.
Tell them that it's a metaphorical dick. Yeah, it's a metaphorical dick. It's not a real one, right? It's a metaphorical dick.
Oh,
that's
man,
completely fine.
It's crazy. It's actually, it really is. It's just so tough, man. Like I sometimes, with having to deal with all these brands, I just need a nice, cool, refreshing beverage to actually calm me down.
Is that
know what I mean?
What do you have?
Yeah. This right here, I don't know, but I certainly hope the brand's watching right now. We love you guys.
Really? Wow. That's crazy. Game Fuel, huh? That's really interesting. Wow.
Yeah. Resealable top, too.
That's crazy.
That's a crazy good product. Yeah. Hope they're watching right now. Yeah. There you go. Never stop. Always enjoying this great, delicious beverage.
The sniper gun fluency. Oh yeah. You also have to remember, like, the people that were in the Fall Guys tournament were actually giving wins to the other people too. It was just a complete shit show. Yeah,
that was the thing with the tournament was I feel like it was, from what I read, I feel like it was like kind of a complete shit show.
Well, the thing is, like, all they need to do is just make the money for charity. So, like, who gives a fuck who wins, right? And then, like, anybody who mauls out over winning, like, oh no, this charity gets it instead of this other charity. But, like, if you put money behind it, and then you have people that, because, like, you can have positive stream sniping, negative stream sniping, anything, dude. And, like, it just, no matter what, is going to piss people off because they know that it's not fair.
Yes. So here's the thing.
Yeah.
People need to stop making video. Look, I was an esports caster for how many years?
Don't do a tournament in a public lobby.
Don't do tournaments in public lobbies and then expect them to be the fucking Super Bowl. Do some stuff for fun every now and then and let people be idiots. Let XQC stream snipe. Let everybody stream snipe.
Fuck it.
Try to make it fun. Have it be fun. Have shit talk happen. When like one of the other Twitch rivals that actually happened, Miskiff was playing in, and I interviewed him at the end. And that was the fun part, right? Hearing him get to shit talk like everybody. Like, he came in second place too, and the entire time.
How did he get second place?
I know, right? That's the best place he's ever gotten in his entire life. But the entire chat, nobody wanted Mizkif. They all wanted Castro, I think was the guy's name or something.
Or they playing FIFA?
I think the FIFA streamer Castro was playing Fall Guys or something, and the entire time
they were, because they do that all the time in soccer.
Yeah, and they were all just spamming. They were all just spamming. Who is Miskit? Give us Castro.
They don't even get it, man.
Yeah. They were just like, who is this Miskit guy?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, guys, the reason that my camera is resizing is because I'm standing up and sitting down.
It's also because Preach is joining and rejoining. We're trying to figure out how to get him in here because, like, his camera isn't working. And so as soon as he's ready, we'll be able to start it up and get ready. And so just give us a few minutes, guys, and we can just keep killing time until that happens. Okay? So don't worry.
I'll be honest. Like, I'll be honest. I'm actually really enjoying this. I feel like you've been busy streaming, getting ready for the new expansion. Yeah. I've been busy with like everything with OTK. Yeah. So literally the only person who I talk to who isn't a fellow billionaire company owner, it's me and Tips, right? Which has been super enjoyable. I've had so much fun actually just getting to hang out with Tips, and he's Tips has not slept. Like Tips and I literally all night long were up, like me, him, and David, just burning the midnight oil.
Yeah, I know. Like I messaged you. Like we talked like at what 2 a.m.
Yeah,
Something
we talked
like
to
that.
2 a.m. last night, and you're like, dude, fuck it, dude. You're thinking way too much, dude. I was like, fuck it.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly. Okay, well we've got what's supposed to be preach over there, but apparently it's not really working quite yet. Real impression. To be fair, honestly, it was actually pretty accurate.
Anytime Asmon talks to me after midnight, he tells me that I'm overthinking everything, literally every time, and he's always right.
That's because like I think better at night. Like in the mornings, like my brain just is like, I'm like, ah, fuck. You know, it's like a fucking bunch of like mosquitoes around in my brain. But at night, I'm like completely fucking chill. I'm focused. I'm ready.
I've never told you this, but David literally has it's like a running joke between me and him where he only wants to talk to you at night. Because in the morning, you're kind of mean. You've always saying no to everything in the morning.
Yeah, it's the first. So when we go, hey, do you want to just? Oh, fuck, really?
Like we'll be like, hey, dude, do you want to just like get a bunch of free shit and we'll pay you for the free shit or like something like that? It's like, yo, dude, like literal like blowjob factory scenario, and then you're like, no, dude, that's fucking stupid.
I don't want that
what
trash in my house.
Thought of that fucking shit, dude. It's like, okay. Let's call him again when it's dark out. You're like, yeah, dude, that's pretty funny. There it is, dude. There it is, dude.
Yeah.
All right, let's redo the call. I'm gonna make a brand new group because Preach is having problems. Give me 1 sec.
That's fine. Where is it? There it is. Okay, let me minimize this until we're ready. I'm obviously like this is the way things usually go, guys. It happens this way pretty much all the time because obviously it's a very difficult thing for us to handle. We're good? Okay, it's me and you.
Yeah,
That's
I added everybody. Let's see. I don't know what's going on. Dude, you know what's funny? You were joking around like professional streamer, all that.
Yeah, that was a joke.
Look at Preach. Preach has been streaming since before we were born.
Yeah, that's about right. Well, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out, man.
Dude gets a bunch of hair, forgets how to stream.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he's beyond this. It's exactly. Yeah, it's actually right. Yeah, he gets a bunch of hair. He doesn't know how to be a wild streamer anymore. That actually makes a lot of sense.
And pretty soon he's gonna be just playing Fortnite.
Yeah. Playing Fortnite and Among Us with people on YouTube, man.
Yeah, dude, he's gonna be playing Among Us with Valkyrie, Courage, and Ninja by next week.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Ride around in a Lamborghini.
Maybe it's the camera. The camera can't count all the hairs. That's what it is. He's got so much hair now. It's impossible for it to work. That must be it.
Cover it up. Have some modesty, dude.
Yeah.
Oh man, we have a lot to talk about. Like this is the last Allcraft.
It's weird, isn't it?
Before the expansion comes out.
I don't even know what to think. Like, I was watching some videos and, like, I'm excited for the expansion, man. Like, I know that it's, like, you know, like, there's, like, the Covenant, the stupid Covenant shit, etc., right? But at the same time, I'm still excited for it. I still want to play it.
Now I can hear Preach, but I can't hear Asmon.
Yeah, boy!
It's actually kind of nice.
Fucking easy for me.
There it is, man. All right.
Wait, I just can't hear Zach at all.
Okay, so everything's working then.
I have a stream open and I can just see him talking too.
Yeah. Okay.
Wait, Zach.
I can hear Zach.
Wait,
sorry.
Really?
Yeah. I can hear him.
Okay, give me 1 second. I gotta add Rich's frame and then we should be good to go.
What should I do? Should I leave the call and come back?
You can try that, yeah. Wait, why am I... Jesus.
That was such a pain in the ass because we were talking and then Zach joined and it just kicked me out and was like, nope.
Yeah, I just ruined everything.
Wait, I don't know what to do because I can't hear Asmon at all.
Just give it a restart, see what happens.
Yeah.
Okay,
I changed server actually to Europe. I changed my Discord. I think Discord's having problems.
Yeah, I think it is Discord. Here, give me 1 sec. Zach, can you say something?
Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3.
I can button up the shirt.
Fixed. Actually,
wait, wow, actually fixed.
Easy.
Okay, there we go.
And I can hear Preach loud and clear. I can see his new awesome karate style, Cobra
Yeah.
Kai.
Oh, you'd like it? Check the Cobra Kai.
Yeah, it's
What's
great,
it all
man.
about?
Sweep the leg. Exactly.
Hawk is my spirit animal.
Now, let's kick this off. This is a very exciting episode. Not only is it the last Allcraft that we're going to do before the expansion comes out. We've gotten to do this a few times. I think that Allcraft actually started all the way back in Warlords of Draenor. So we've gotten to do this a few times, the Sunset episode. And one of them, if I am correct, Preach was actually on as well. So all of those expansions ago. So very excited for that. But also today's a very special episode because we have two men who have taken two different routes to fight male pattern baldness. And
You
have
were
won the
covered in
war.
juice. I know you've been spraying juice into your hair because you were worried about going bald.
He is.
I know you were. Yeah, dude.
Literally,
Don't,
he's got
don't
it right
put this
there
on
with
me
him.
and him.
No, it's me and you. It's weird that two
Oh,
men.
because Zach's not
It's
tried
a two different
anything.
strategies.
Yeah, I have.
And
I
one
grew my
man-
hair out and then I combed it to the left. What do you mean?
Nice.
Yeah, it
nice.
works great. It's perfect.
When you say
solution.
combed it to the left, you mean you slept on your left side on your pillow and just kind of let it grab
Yeah,
you do its job?
it just kind of grows that way now because I've done it so long. It's perfect.
Just swirl it around. Just swirl it
Yeah.
around. The,
Like an
the
ice
Charlie
cream.
Brown. Yeah, the Charlie
Well, Rich
Brown.
knows up close. What's it like up close when you get really
What's
into
it like? Are you talking about my hair?
I'm talking about your hair.
All right.
Because I know what
Zach-
mine was like up close.
Zach actually, I swear, it looks better in real life than he does on camera.
It's hard
Oh,
not
you
to.
guys are OTK boys now. Everyone's a fan. We're all
Yeah.
happy boys
Oh
together.
boy, yeah, of
yeah,
course.
No, I mean it. I mean it. If you're in like a very dark room with Zach, you look like you can't even tell that his hair's
Yeah,
like
if you
thin at
can't
all.
see him, it looks fine. He looks fine. Yeah, it's great.
It's
Thanks
the
a lot,
light.
Rich.
yeah.
It's just the
Reduce-
light.
Just turn the light down a bit. It's fine.
Yeah,
just turn the
if
light off,
you
you're like
put
Mark.
him if you put him under like a bright light, like if he's directly under a bright light, you can see literally his entire scalp. But if
That's
he's
right.
in
It was the
dark,
worst for me, bro. Because
Oh my
this is the
God.
light in my room. It's
Yeah.
directly above my head. Look at
Yeah.
it.
So
So
they
every
they get to
stream-
see every single little missing one.
Yes. So every stream, I was like this angelic, glowing bald head.
Oh my
Every stream.
God.
And I'm like, I'm not that bald IRL. They're like, dude, we can see you on a camera. I'm like, yeah, but there's literally a light above my head.
And then you have to explain it. And
pretty-
if you
but you were
explain it
pretty
to them,
bald
they
IRL.
think that you're actually even more bald than they originally
Oh,
thought.
you're
because that's-
defensive now. You're on
'cause
the
now
defensive.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You're defensive.
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I've touched your head with like various parts of my body. You were pretty bald in real life too, but now you've beat it. You've 100% beat it. I'm pretty excited about the whole thing because I thought it was really cool how you kind of talked about the entire process. And wasn't it a sub goal as well to actually do it?
Yeah, well, kind of. I mean, it was a dumb sub goal. We were like 5,900 subs. And I just said, well, if we hit 6K, we'll get the hair transplant. Like, lol. And they did it in like 5 seconds.
Oh, wow. Big
So,
surprise.
I mean, it was, it was one of those. It wasn't some ridiculous thing over months or anything. It took less than 5 minutes to do it because I wanted to do it. It was as simple as that. Yeah, it was nothing. I'd been thinking about it for like 2 years out of curiosity because I'd seen a number of videos of it and I was like, comes out really good now because I'd seen the old ones where you look like a chia pet, right?
That's what
And
I was
like,
worried
well,
about.
Yeah, exactly. I'd seen those videos from like 10 years ago when they just kind of gone, what if we just started like sticking hair all over the top of your head and see what came out, right? And people were like, oh yeah, I'll do that. And came out looking ridiculous. But the last couple I'd seen, they were fine. You couldn't tell anything. So I was like,
So I've got a couple of questions here. All right,
Hit me.
I do. I've got a couple of questions. Number one, does the hair grow back? Does like
which
after-
hair?
The hair that they put on your head, like the hair that's
Oh
been-
yeah, it's permanent. If that's what you're asking, it's permanent. Yeah, it's done.
Wow. So
Yeah, it's
So
permanent.
here's how it works. Here's how
Okay.
it works, Zach. Basically, you know how everybody who does go bald looks like Dr. Phil? There's like that
Yes.
one area where they still have hair.
Yes.
Basically, your testosterone, when you're an alpha male, gets turned into a secondary, what would be called an androgen, a secondary androgen called DHT. DHT is like super testosterone. It actually even makes you. Never mind. I won't go into what it does, but trust me, the ladies dig it. The thing is, though, is the hair on the
DHT,
top of your
oh my.
head. They love that. They love that.
Yeah, they
DHT.
love the DHT.
The thing is, though, is the hair on the top of your head is sensitive to the DHT unless you have like some weird super genes where for some reason those hair follicles are also resistant to the DHT. What it does over time is it actually shrinks the hair follicle. It shrinks it. And eventually it gets so small that hairs can't even push out. You go bald. After it's been dormant for a little while, that hair follicle will never produce hair again. Luckily for me, for example, I started taking an androgen blocker. So it's too late for me to
grow it back?
I think probably by now. That's why I kept telling you to take the pills. So for you, what you would end up doing is some of the hair around the side of your head, that is DHT resistant. That's why it's still there. Yes, it's greasy, but it is strong. It can handle the shit that you put it through. So that hair, those hair follicles, one time can be harvested and then placed on the bald spots, which is basically the entire top of your head. It's only going to get worse from here on out. And so basically the entire top of your head will be completely bald. I give you 2 years tops. So what's going to happen is you can take from that horseshoe around your head, you can place all of those hair follicles one time. So basically the amount of hair that isn't affected by DHT in that horseshoe on the back of your head, you will be able to take all of that and resculpt it on your head. And as you can see on Preach right now, that's why he has the new hairline. And Preach had a really good donor zone. He had a lot of hair.
Oh, it was juicy. Yeah, they were showing them because I was so bored. It's crazy boring. So I was trying to get some conversation going. And at one point when I was on the massage table thing where they squish your face through, they were doing like the side. So I had to kind of squish my face like this. But I could see the nurse who was going through the hairs they'd harvested, and she was showing me. She's like, that's a juicer. That's a big boy. That's a failure. And so she's like got them on the tweezers and she's showing me what's going to go in because there's nothing to do. So I had like ones with like 7 or 8 big juicers coming out of it. She was like, that's a whopper. That'll go on the front. Okay. So it was really cool. And then they just throw the other ones away.
Yeah, you literally should have put
Oh my God. He's trying to would have had so much fun.
Dude, my buddy Dylan, I got him to play, and already he has a C6 child. I'm like ruining lives with this game. I love it. I personally like the game a lot, and I like it almost as much as I like Preach's new hairline. So, but the hair loss science is actually interesting. I watched a bunch of videos.
I have another question. Does the hair?
That's them all.
Does the hair that they take out, does that regrow on the back of your head, or is that one gone?
No, because that's the root that's gone. So it's like you've taken the tree, root and the stump.
So it's like planting a garden.
It's exactly the same. It's so not complicated. Like Rich is trying to be clever, but it's not complicated at all, right? Because all they're doing is they're scooping it out the back. They literally drill a hole in the top of your head. That's just the plant hole, and then they stick it in there, and then it's all about afterwards. Because if you get up and you like swing your head around, they'll just literally fall out if you do that immediately.
Wow.
So you just have to like keep your head still for a few days so it settles in. That's it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's pretty weird because I asked because they don't tell you they're going to use a drill because obviously it'd freak some people out.
Yeah.
So while I was lay there and I couldn't see, there's a machine going, So I'm like, well, what is the machine? Is it like a little scoop or what is it? What are you doing? And he's like, it's a drill. He admitted it because I could feel something drilling my skull. And I'm like, well, what is it? And he's like, it's a drill. I'm like, okay. So now I know what that feels like. That's cool.
Oh my God.
Do they use drills for both FUT and FUE?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. One of them might not use a drill. One might, because basically one of them is a garden. The other one is planting sod. Basically, here, like so there's like another version where they'll just take larger strips instead of taking the individual follicles and planting them like little trees. They'll just plant all of them all at once. But yeah, God. I actually dude, I have watched so many videos about it because when you hosted me, Asmon, basically everybody just started coming into my chat going bald.
Well, that they were conditioned for that. That's what they usually do. Like they spend the entire time, my entire stream is getting called bald, and then now I do this. Have you guys done this channel prediction thing yet?
Like I saw Quinn doing it.
After every mount that we do, I let people bet on if I'm gonna get it or not, and there literally is a 0% chance of success so far. It's really.
Is it
really
a channel
bad.
Points thing?
Yeah, it's a channel point. They bet their channel points, and I see people betting like 250,000 channel points on me getting a mount, and then I don't get it. And I genuinely feel like I let them down. Like I actually just fuck them over. It's the worst.
Well, every idea with channel points is about fucking us over. That's every suggestion I've ever had. I've had a million because some people are like, yo, I've got like 400,000.
Hit yourself in the head with a hammer.
Exactly. Like I owe you now, right? Like I've got all these channel points.
Yeah.
Like, right. So does that mean that I can flashbang you because Quinn did that? I'm like, no. I don't. That's not what that means.
Remember that. I was just saying that.
Yeah, fuck that.
That's always been the way that Twitch has worked. It's never been like something good happens if X goal is achieved. Like all the way back at the very beginning, it's always been like, eat a ghost pepper, dude. Like, fill up. It's always going to be that way. People like to see us suffer.
And a triple shuffle. No,
there's been plenty of suffering that's been happening. Most of it was in BFA. The question is, are we going to continue to suffer, or is Shadowlands going to be the promised land we find out very soon?
BFA dies in 4 days. Praise be.
I am so happy that it's over, man.
I'm so happy.
I am too. Like, it's going to be so weird going and playing another game. You know what I mean?
Oh, it'll be so much better. So much. I went through all my. I did the nostalgia memory lane of BFA because I have all the videos and stuff that I've made, and all of them are like pretty miserable. Besides a couple of raid kills, I'm like, yeah, this is where we farmed islands so our armor would work for weeks. This was great. You know what I mean? Like, this is when essences came in and I was farming bot AV or whatever the AB or whatever the fuck it was to get my essence. This was cool.
Oh yeah, for the what was that even called? I forgot what that was.
The blood of the enemy.
Blood of the enemy. The pub stomp or whatever. Yeah, that was crazy, man. Like I don't know. Like it feels like I just want to see them like going into Shadowlands, and it seems like they're doing this, that they have a little bit more confidence in the actual systems because they're not attaching some kind of like, you have to do this reward to them. Like with the different covenant features.
It's going to be so hard though, right? I mean, Ian, we did a video on it last week. Ian did the interview today with Wowhead where he stressed it. It's like, guys, this is really different. There's so much to do, but it's optional. Find what you like, go and do that. And I think I was thinking like, how long ago was it when we had that? And it wasn't like you logged in and it kind of gave you a screen with like a list of things to do, you know, like chores. Now it's going to be like, there's a couple of things a week you should do, but other than that, go and pick. I think people are going to have a real issue adjusting, but I think we'll get there, hopefully.
Do you think it's going to work out?
They're going to be like, there's nothing to do. I hope so, because they're going to be those guys who are like, oh, there's nothing to do because it's not giving me a weapon. It's not giving me, it's not giving me power.
It's not giving you player power, yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing for me to do, but there's so much to do that it's over. They're simultaneously worried about overwhelming players, while players are saying there's nothing to do.
Yeah,
and that's going to be weird because it's like Wrath of the Lich King, I think, or even Kata, where we had that, where there was so many optional like rep farms and so many optional things to go and do. But in terms of player power, you had like Sons of Hodir. That was like.
That was the only one that you really had to do.
Yeah, exactly.
And like all the rest of like the oracles. Like, why would you do the oracles? So you could get the egg and get the green proto drake. Like, who gives a shit?
But I did it. I did the Kalawak for a fishing pole because it was super fun. Like, but I did it at my own pace. I did like 6 months in. I'm gonna go and do Kalawak now.
I did the Kalawak too because I saw the DPS in the fishing pole, and I actually thought, yes. That's right.
Oh, is this for real? I thought you were memeing.
No, I was not memeing.
Okay.
I literally farmed it all the way up to Exalted, thinking that I could use the fishing rod in Nax. And whenever I finally got it, and I realized I couldn't use weapons with it, or I couldn't use abilities with it, I felt like the biggest fucking idiot. Like, I don't think I've ever felt that stupid before in my entire life. Like, that's about
Justifiably, though.
Very much so. Very much so.
Justifiably.
Yeah.
It's the same time when you realize getting armor on your gear is not a good idea, which I did. But that was my old school noob things. Like I stacked up as much armor, so I was wearing int gear and shit on my warrior, but it had more armor. I'm not gonna die
if it's got more armor, it's gotta be better, right? It's gonna protect you. Problem solved.
And then indestructible. Oh, so good.
I mean, like you think about it, and like a lot of that stuff just doesn't happen to players anymore, though, right? Because back then we weren't trained to go instantly find the answer and know what pieces you should be farming for and hearing all of the like, okay, this is the best way to play the game right now. And that's kind of what makes me ask the question, is this line of play where we actually do see Blizzard saying, okay, you are more free to make these choices. Do we think it's going to work in the current landscape? Because it's very different than Wrath of the Lich King, right? It's very different than those times when people kind of figured it out for themselves. How do you think it will actually play out now the players have a little bit more autonomy?
I think that
same as go on.
Oh, I was gonna say like the Mage Tower, right? And Mage Tower was completely optional. Huge success.
Eventually, see, I remember that differently. The launch of the Mage Tower, it was hated because no one could do it. Because it was great when like Tomb came out and people's gear went and they could actually do it. But at launch, I remember when it first came out, people were like, "Why have you made content for the 1%?" because nobody could get anything done. So, but in 8.3 was the same. That was what I was going to say. Like in 8.3, when the new dailies came in for the corrupted areas, people were like, "Oh my fucking god! It takes like 3 hours to do the rare one. This is bullshit."
Yeah.
But the idea was people did adapt and go, "Well, actually, it doesn't benefit me that much, so I'm going to skip it, and I'm fine."
Who gives a shit? Yeah.
Yeah. So they do. It will happen. I just hope it's a smooth process to adjust.
No, I remember that pretty clearly. I remember like the night that the Mage Tower came out, I was actually watching Quinn's stream, and I saw Quinn kept wiping on the one for the Ret Paladin, and I could see myself getting farther than him, and I started getting an ego about it, and I got the one that I did down to 10% health, and I wanted to turn on the stream just to show everybody how much better than him I was, and I proceeded to choke for 2 hours. 2 hours of fuck-ups.
Which one was it? The warrior one?
Agatha.
Oh
yeah, it was.
That took forever as a Fury Warrior.
Yeah, and it shouldn't have. It shouldn't have for me. I had like best in slot gear, and I still just completely made an ass of myself. It took like 2.5, 3 hours. Felt so goddamn dumb, man. It was one of the most popular clips on my channel before I had to delete them all.
You streamed the whole thing as well?
Oh yeah, no, I turned on the stream. I'm gonna show these kids how to play the game, man. I'm gonna show them how good I am. And then I turned it on.
Yeah, wait, is that the day when you did the thing?
Well, I did that every day.
But that's like
that was
the
not,
one,
no,
right?
that was not D-Day. That was the Mage Tower because I almost one-shot the Prop Paladin Artifact Challenge, and I was halfway through the phase 2, and I fucked up. And I was like, you know what? I've had enough. And I just did the smash.
The smash.
I feel like the different features and everything, like all the optional features though, are going to be great. Like the build of Abomination and the planting a garden, in game, and all that stuff. I'm actually really excited for it. I mean, the Covenant abilities, like all the restrictions on the abilities and everything, like I think that's just going to be something that we're going to have to deal with. And I think Preach, you said this before, that like probably 2 months into the expansion, people aren't even going to care about that anymore because there's going to be something new for them to be mad about.
Well, not even that. They're just not that interesting anymore. Like they've squashed a lot of them so much.
Really?
Yeah, they're just not that interesting anymore. That's the problem. You know what I mean? Like I'm more expecting that when everybody gets into the Shadowlands and they get their Covenant ability, they're going to be kind of unimpressed. And they'll be like, what are you guys bitching about? Why did you make this giant fuss about the Covenant ability and stuff? It's like, well, this isn't what we had.
Yeah.
This isn't what we had. The same with Torghast, because you did early Torghast, right? When we had like 50 floors, 80 floors, or whatever it was.
72.
72 floors. Like it was a huge all day thing, right? Pushing through and then going into absolutely nuts, insane damage. But we don't have that anymore. So I've had a lot of people who joined the beta and they're like, Torghast isn't that crazy. I'm like, well, you didn't get what we got, unfortunately.
It's like, so I actually want to talk about both of these things because, big picture, you look at Torghast now, and I do feel like in a lot of ways, it does kind of feel like, what's the point of this anymore? Like, it's not as exciting. I see the progression loop, and I see like the overall idea of why you're going to go into Torghast. It feels like a similar role of, I did not say both. I said both of these things. I really do want to talk about both of these things because with Torghast, I felt like it was not only, when you talk about optional play, it wasn't only going to be that power loop that we had in Visions where it's like, okay, you do this once a week, you can do it by yourself or you can do it with people, and ultimately you're going to get a really good reward. This time around, it's going to work towards legendaries. It also seemed like it was something people were genuinely going to do for fun. So why do you think that these changes actually happened? And do you think it's going to affect the amount of fun and freedom and creativity that players were going to be able to have in the new game mode?
How pessimistic you'll be. Like we've talked about this a lot. Like on the team, why did they go to 18 floors? Because it's enough to start getting crazy, but not enough to get to the really, really crazy stuff that we were doing early Torghast.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have brought up to me is that maybe they're a little worried that the characters were so stupidly fun late game Torghast that it would make the main game disappointing.
That's the way it felt to me. It's like,
but Blizz mentioned that, and they said they weren't that asked about that. I don't know. Whether it's going to be scaling issues later down the line, because, I mean, as you well know, we were hitting in the several millions by the end and just wiping out entire floors, but it was really fun.
It was.
We had that email from Blizzard. I don't know if I've still got it here. in the alpha, when there was no rewards, and all you could do was just run Torghast, and everyone was praising it, there was something like, 85,000 runs by very few alpha.
Oh, yeah. Whenever they sent everybody the thank you for like all the bugs.
Yeah. There's something crazy statistically about how many people... We were just running Torghast every day because it was just a laugh. Different classes, see how crazy they scale. All right, let's see what priests do. Let's see what warriors do. And then they started knocking it back down again. It's a shame you don't scale to the crazy level, which is where it really got fun. Because for us, like you were suggesting and giving feedback, we were like, we want boss rush mode, we want hidden.
Yeah.
If you're going super fast, we would love to have some mega event happen because you do hit the point where you kill everything.
Dude, that's just what I wanted to see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I hope they add that. Like if you kill a boss fast enough, it unlocks like a hard mode boss of it. Like that'd be cool.
Here's the weird thing, right? Because I Preach and I, this was months ago, and there were a lot of moments where we were really praising Blizzard as well with what they were doing in Torghast. Preach and I both play a lot of roguelikes. Asmon doesn't. And for us, we were like seeing all these things, and it was like, okay, we would like to see them take all of these things from roguelikes that make them really fun. And it was awesome to get to watch Asmon play a thing that was unlike anything he ever played before, but in that WoW framework, and be like, yo, this is awesome. And even maybe considering playing some of those other games and thinking about trying to experience roguelikes. But now in its current state, Torghast really feels like a roguelike, and right before you get to the part where it's fun and interesting, it ends and you restart and you go back to the boring part again. It's like if you played a Slay the Spire or a game like that, and basically you saw what your build was, you started to build it, and right before you got to the payoff, it just kind of kicked you in the teeth.
Yeah. I linked it there. I just found it. So in the alpha, according to the emails we got, there was nearly as many runs of Torghast done as there were total player deaths. That's how much Torghast was being played.
Wow.
Just when it didn't give anything except to let you go. You know, it just kind of let you off the hook. And we had a blast with it. Like I would log in and like, just pick a class, pick a spec, let's go. See where we go.
That was
it's still good though. That's the thing. You don't want to be that negative. No, Torghast is still really good. It's just very different than what probably a lot of people have commented on. News reports that we did, any footage we've shown, it's very different now. It's it's more restricted. Their intention for that, I don't really know, but they have their reasons, I guess. And maybe we were hoping for too much from it because we were going crazy with suggestions. Like in Infinity War, when Thor comes out and he likes throwing lightning, he does that crash lightning thing,
Wakanda,
right? I was like, that should be a combo of abilities you get in Torghast for Enhancement Shaman. Like if you pick up, say, Lightning Splash and then maybe Feral Leap. So you pick up these combos is you actually get this new ability, which allows you to do
like in a fighting game, like a combo ability?
Well, that's what a lot of roguelikes do.
That'd be badass.
They synergize their abilities.
Damn.
Like you might pick up a laser, and then you pick up fire damage, and then you pick up some projectile, and it all works together to create some laser-guided fire rocket, napalm rocket.
Wow.
You know, that's what roguelikes do that have a lot of powers, is they start creating synergies and hidden combos.
Yeah.
So stuff like that, we were like, there's so much opportunity in Torghast to go nuts for Blizzard, but whether or not it would have ruined the main game for a lot of people, probably for some, you know, they would have just stayed in Torghast. Like, why would I gear up if I can go into Torghast right now, just get powers, and have a mega character in that environment, right?
That's basically the way that I felt about it too. Like I remember finishing Torghast and being on 472 and then going out and struggling to kill like one mob. I felt like I had a dream that I was like a billionaire on a yacht with a bunch of models, and then I wake up and I'm actually just still living at my mom's house. It sucked.
And Rich is in your bedroom. Hi.
I was there.
How did you sleep?
Yeah.
Why are you sleeping under a box, dude? No. In all seriousness, though, I feel like maybe having some framework in there that caused your gear to maybe have a higher impact could have been interesting. Something like that. I feel like one of the things that was so exciting about it was the fact that everybody was talking about it. Everybody was enjoying it, and trimming that down is one of the questions that I think is really hard to answer. Why would they actually do it? Because you would look at like Sloot, Preach, Quinn, everybody on this stream, literally everybody was only playing Torghast on the alpha. Like that was what people were doing. That was what people were having fun with. And a lot of viewers were like, either really excited for it, or they were like, you know, I don't know how much I like watching this, but I'm still really excited to play.
They hated watching it, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's like, this looks so boring. I'm like, you've no idea how fun this is.
But it's so fun and cool. You just kill everything in one hit. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're in like the same environment. You're just killing mobs. And I'm like, I know what it visually looks like, but playing it is so cool. It's when you cast that chain lightning and it jumps to 20 targets and just eradicates the floor. It feels awesome. It feels so good.
And it was
I did get that feedback. People are like, this is really boring, dude. What are you so hype about? I'm like, you've no idea. It's so good.
Yeah, back to reacting. And I was like, man, I really want to play Torghast. I guess I'll do it off stream. I'll just go back to reacting to like Asmongold picking his nose. So exciting. He ate it. You're like, all right. But yeah, I think one of my questions is, Preach, do you think that there's a chance that they're trying to gate the content slightly? Do you think that maybe they're going, okay, it's going to start off with 18, we're going to get more and more floors, and maybe by the end of the expansion we have something infinite?
I hope so. I hope they're taking the feedback we've given, which they've been awesome. You know, the communication has been as good as it's ever been. Not in all areas. I know the PvPers are still very mad, and rightfully so. But I hope they listened to all that feedback where we went, we love this and we want to see more of this. They did go in a different direction than what well, at least is what I know as everybody who tested it and gave feedback, but they get feedback from everywhere, so I can't account for everybody. But like adding a lot more stuff to the vendor wasn't a great thing as far as we can tell. They made it a little easier, but I don't know how often people were wiping in Torghast, right? Because all the only people we saw really were streamers, and they tend to just grind it out until the end of days. You know what I mean? Until they win.
Yeah.
So were people getting their ass kicked in there? Maybe, because the early floors originally, you could spend an hour and a half on the first floor, taking it slow.
No, you remember you would get your first floor and you would get your first ability, and like if I got a shit ability, I would just restart it. I'm like, I'm not doing this one again. Fuck this. Yeah.
Or if I saw the sentinels, if there were too many sentinels, I was like, no, not this one.
Oh, the original ones that
roll you or like slow you down, and you would start a floor and you would see like the 3 next to it, and it's like, oh.
That's why it's so weird when they brought them affixes in, saying, you know, don't want you to go AFK. I'm like, dude, part of the fun of this is some floors need like an hour, because you're like, I can get through this if I can get around here to get this power. Then maybe I can go up on this side and kill this enemy, but then I'm gonna have to come back to the beginning to where that tower sentinel was, but I might be powerful enough then to kill that.
Yeah, because if that enemy that you kill after you get around it drops another red thing or black thing or whatever it is now, and then you can maybe kill the tower sentinel if you use all of your cooldowns, and by then your lust will be up from killing the first big enemy. Oh yeah, like the planning and strategy behind it was really fun. I remember whenever I would watch Torghast, everybody would enjoy watching it the most in the first 5 floors, because that's whenever it was really defined and it was really interesting.
Because you'd be mathing it out too. You would see the jars. You would look at the jars and you'd be like, "Oh man, is there some anima in that?" And you'd be like, "I never before in my life did I try to obtain pot more." You're trying to get over there, trying to see if there's.
And then it doesn't have any. Like you spend an hour building up to that, and then you're like, "Right, I'm going to kill that tower sentinel now. I've spent an hour on this floor.
Yeah,
and it doesn't have anything. It was a waste of time." Trolled so hard, dude.
Yep.
Yeah, it was really solid. Now, the other thing that you had mentioned a little bit earlier that's in a similar vein with how the changes actually came up, and it was something that we were actually talking about. And before we table this, guys, Torghast still does have a lot of potential. This is just a weird change that we really do want to pay attention to going in.
I told people today, I'm more excited about Torghast than anything else in the entire Shadowlands.
It's still really good. Yeah, it's just different. I was talking more in reference to, we did a lot of content on Torghast. We did a lot of content on the Covenant abilities.
Yeah.
The retail live version is very different than the thing we were talking about at the time.
Yeah.
But they're still good. They're still good.
Yeah, I think that it's one of the reasons that we talked about it so much and we are putting the pressure on is because we all like it so much, right? And we want it to do well. The other thing now, this was something that I was very nervous about from the very beginning. Preach, I watched your interview. I feel like it was something that you were nervous about from the very beginning, and I talked to Asmon about it. So I'm sure he kind of felt the same way. When we looked at all the Covenant abilities, there was this weird dissonance with the idea of how the Covenant abilities actually worked. They were super unique and super interesting, which made them very cool abilities where you were like,
Mostly.
wow. Mostly,
just
yes.
for the naysayers, because actually the priest one wasn't particularly good.
Actually, I don't like the ability.
Actually, I think you'll find that Venfear Priest wasn't amazing. But yeah, generally speaking, yeah.
But the thing was when we actually looked at it too, there was a new. There were so many new abilities, right? Like there were actually so many new abilities, and they were unique, and it seemed like a very cool design. Now the problem was when all of a sudden the motto comes in that we're going to make it so they're all baseline, so they're all just generically good. And it's like, wait, that takes away from the whole idea of having these unique abilities, right? Just making them boring, making them these baseline abilities that aren't going to affect your game too much. So if you want to be a furry, like Preach is going to be as a Night Fae, then you can go ahead and do that.
Period, mate. I'm an angel boy now.
I thought they got nerfed. Really? I thought Kyrian got
nerfed. Still great.
Great. All right.
Well, I mean, great as in, it's a little bit better.
Okay.
It's still boring, but it's a little bit better.
Slightly better, I see.
Min-maxing. I'm a meta slave. Accept it.
Now, do you think, though, that they've gone too far at all in boiling down these abilities? Or do you think that they still do have that unique flair as the ability that we're going to have as our new ability going into this expansion for each?
No, I think they have gone too far, but it was always going to go that way. That's day one. What our problem was with it is like, you have to balance this. I know people are like, balance ruins the game, but it really doesn't. And you would hate to play it imbalanced. I swear to you. But if they're going to lock them off, they have to be balanced. Otherwise, it just is a nightmare for a lot of people. And so it was always going to end this way, where they were just like, well, we'll just have to make them do kind of a little bit. So they're the button. Like there is some spells that some people aren't even that bothered about pressing. I think it's some of the recent sims show them to be like your Covenant ability is like a 1% bonus to your damage or something stupid over the course of a fight if you press it versus if you don't. Like they're kind of that irrelevant.
Well, hey, that's a good way to balance them. Just make it to where people don't want to press them at all.
Well, yeah, but I got a lot of messages saying, well, aren't you happy now? Isn't that what you wanted? Like, no, we wanted 4 really cool abilities that we could mess around with. That would have been much better. Yeah.
It's like, it's always like one of those things where even if it's a little bit tricky to switch, but you can pull it off. Like I remember in Wrath of the Lich King, what's the dog's name where you have to kite the zombies? I literally forget his name right now. Gluth? Yeah. So we were on that fight, and everybody who usually would kite wasn't there, and I had to switch my entire spec to actually kite. And that was one of the first times I really felt like a good player, where I was like, oh my God, like I made a decision. I said in Ventrilo, guys, I think that I could actually try this. And all of a sudden I felt like I was a good player. And having those moments where you get to make that decision, even if, when you play WoW 14 hours a day, it doesn't seem like a decision. It seems cookie cutter. That opportunity for player choice and unique abilities, I think, is what makes World of Warcraft an interesting game. And I hope that we have some chances at that.
Yeah, I think we're in the minority on that, though. I would love to get the data, but no one will share it. But from what I can gather, researching as best we can, people never respec in this game. Like, never.
That's what's so crazy is people are saying, oh, well, we can't let the covenants and we can't let the conduits change because then people are going to change their specs all the time whenever they do the raids. And then you go and you look at their Warcraft logs and they're using the same fucking talents for every boss. They're literally doing this thing that they say they're not going to do. It's crazy.
It was such an eye-opening experience when they made tomes. Respecking, I think it was an early Legion beta. They did something with tomes, or I think you could only use tomes in the city. It was something really bizarre where you couldn't respec.
Yes, you could only use them in a city.
Yeah, it was something weird. So I made a video. I was like, guys, this is bullshit, right? And literally tens, if not hundreds of thousands of people are telling me, it's not a big deal. We don't respec that often. I'm like, whoa. And it was really eye-opening to me, who respects, and I'm with Rich. I find it really interesting when I'm going to like a Mythic Plus. What are the affixes this week? I need to switch up my talents. What does my tank want me to do? Because I was a Moonkin, right? Do you want trees? Do we want to take roots? Do we want to take Typhoon because it's Sanguini and so we can knock? What do we want? I find that really interesting because I'm designing my character about what I'm going to face. So I respec all the time. But then I noticed that a huge amount of people do not respec in this game. They take a spec from the start. They play that all the way through.
Which is so funny because I feel like it was one of the reasons I was sad about, what are they called? Man, it's been so long. Tier sets. One of the things that I was upset about when tier sets actually went away, because when you would switch your specs a lot, and do different specs in different cases, when you would actually go in and be like, okay, now all of a sudden I'm using this ability, I'm using a stun more often, or I'm using a different crowd control ability. And then when you had raid sets, tier sets, thrown in the mix as well. I'm actually forgetting what they're called. It's been so long. But if you have tier sets thrown in the mix as well, and all of a sudden you're working with all these different tier sets, it felt like your class changed, and it always felt fresh. So even though you might only play one character, it was like, well, today this character feels a little bit different, and I feel like I'm playing 3 characters for the price of 1.
Yeah, that's
it was
kind
the best conversation. Oh,
yeah.
Sorry, go on.
I was gonna say it felt like your character was more dynamic throughout the different patches. Like through BFA, like Tested Might has been the best one for Warriors for PvE pretty much the whole time, and it just feels like you're playing the same thing the whole time.
Yeah, same as Moonkid. It was my character is essentially exactly the same as it was when I started leveling in BFA. Besides a bit of Azerite tracking on one of Azerite power. But it was the best conversation, not conversation, but a little back and forth I had with Celestalon is during the Legion Legion beta. We did a Warlock video where I talked about how cool it is that a lot of the talents that Warlocks got then when they did a revamp took a spell and they just kind of slightly changed how it worked. So it wasn't adding more spells to your bars. It wasn't making it feel overfloated. It just gave it a slightly different twist on what that spell does, and that gives it fresh and keeps it alive. And that's all talents really need to do for the most part, is slight alterations to gameplay, but it's not overwhelming players. It's still the same buttons you always had. Perhaps there's a spell that you didn't use that often, but the talent gives it a bit breath of life. And he messaged me, he's like, that's exactly what we're going for. We prefer it that way, because there's a lot of players who you could take some specs, right? And you can add like 5 new spells to the bars.
Yeah.
So many players don't want that. They don't want that. They don't want to go from having like 20 spells to 25 that they have to use in combat. Like so many players, and I totally get it, are like, I don't want to add loads of different extra buttons. I would rather I want to play what I'm playing and then give it a slight twist. If my Storm Strike now cleaves, that makes more sense because I'm AoEing, right? If I'm not, I go the different way. Yeah, exactly. So look, like just having that little bit of breath of freshness, and it's a shame. Tier sets are coming back. I don't know if you guys saw that today. They are coming back this expansion, but I don't think
didn't even know it was confirmed.
They're just cosmetic. Yeah, they confirmed it today.
They're cosmetic?
I think it's just cosmetic. That's my inkling on it, is that it's just cosmetic. So it's class tier sets are coming back, I think is what they're saying. They're saying tier sets are coming back, but he was talking about the designs and the visuals. Now, don't say my word on that because that's not confirmed, but it felt to me...
When they took them out of the game...
Bonuses.
When they took them out of the game, they promised...
Well, wait, just so we can confirm, this is you inferring this, right? So, like, we don't really know. We're just kind of guessing?
Yeah, you can check his wording on it. He's talking about how they look. He's talking about all the visuals. Nothing to do with bonuses or anything like that. He's just talking about class-specific visuals for tier sets.
That is.
So I got the impression there's not going to be bonuses.
That could be true.
Hopefully there is.
I certainly hope that there are actually pieces of gear. Like, I like tier sets, and I think they gave, like, each different tier a flavor. Like, it was 1,000 times better in my mind. So, like, whenever they got rid of them, I just felt like it was another way for them to just, like, not make as many sets. Because, like, now in BFA, at least, it was, like, the same in fucking Trial of the Crusader. You remember that? Whenever you just had that one shitty set, and it was the same for everybody. Yeah, it was trash. And, like, now in Old Year, like, for example, if you didn't like your Warrior set, well, too bad. That's all you're getting. You can't get the Paladin set or the DK set either. So I really hope they add back tier sets in the second tier of Shadowlands. It'd be amazing. I'd be so happy.
Yeah, he says it's coming, but he didn't give a time or anything. But they are coming. I'm preparing. If they've got set bonuses, cool, because the PvP stuff is getting set bonuses. There's some set bonuses for open world early gear. So there are set bonuses in the Shadowlands. So fingers crossed we will get them, but they're definitely talking about the cosmetics for now to make sure you're getting class identity stuff. Because it was weird, right? They took them out to say we can focus more on it, and then we got less of them.
Exactly. That was literally exactly what I was going to say. Because the thing was when they actually said that they were going to change the way that tier sets worked. You weren't going to have tier set bonuses anymore, but cosmetically, instead of focusing on the classes themselves, you were going to have just as many transmogs coming out of it, but it was going to be focused more on the theme of the dungeon, right? So for Castle Nathria, if that actual mindset did go forward, it would be a bunch of different vampire theme sets, and then one of the sets might look like a werewolf, and then you get like hairy little paws as a rogue, and it's like, oh wow, looks so cool.
Always to the animals and paws with you. Like it's like A to B, you're there.
He brings
Hey,
out
man,
a lot, doesn't he?
vampires to pause in one move, like one chess move. You were there.
Woo! Yeah, yeah. Hey, look, dude.
Yeah.
I'm all of the OTK content that we're working on is just fresh in my head right now, so that's why it keeps just popping out
Oh,
like
great.
that.
Okay,
You know?
I
A
can't
lot
wait
of furry content coming out of OTK.
I can't wait for our next meeting. I didn't know about this. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Furry over GIF, yeah, brother.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
One of the top spending demographics on Twitch, by the way, furries. So yeah, it's called a business plan. It's something that we have here at OTK.
Yeah, you really want to tap into that market. Yeah.
Yeah. Really trying. Really, the OTK, we spanked the competition. But
Guys,
yeah,
we really need to think of a way of really getting ourselves into this market. It's a growing area.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, his fursuits are expensive, right? I mean, just to get in, it's a couple grand. I mean, come on. Yeah, you just think about it. It makes perfect sense.
Being a furry is a $2,000 buy-in.
Yeah.
but also the thing is the people that buy furry suits will always try to get the furry suit, right? It's like a very essential item for them. It's like a very essential part of their hobby or their trade. I actually yes, like a toothbrush. Very good example. So at the beginning of COVID, I actually I saw that the fursuit price was dropping down slightly, and I made a huge investment. And I bought a bunch of fursuits, and I know that the price for fursuits will go up over time. And I know that ultimately, you know, that they're going to sell like hotcakes. But for now, I'm sitting on exactly 6 fursuits that are currently owned by OTK. And you know, maybe we won't sell
Aren't
them.
there
Maybe
6 of us in the org?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a coinky dink.
That's crazy. I wonder how that happened. Wow. Well, what a weird coincidence. Okay.
Speaking of WoW, I ultimately, if the tier sets don't ever come back with the actual set bonus, I think the set bonus is something that is relatively fun in the game, and I would be so heated that I would need to borrow Preach's spritzer and actually spritz down my scalp.
The spritzer is life. I'm sad I'm losing the headband. This is the last time the headband goes today.
I mean, you can still wear one, like if you want to wear it.
It's kind of grown on me. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, it's got the headband leaves today. Big sadness.
Yeah,
I think the bottle remains. It stands proud.
Yeah, you're like WoW's ninja, right?
Sure.
I think he was using his
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Yeah. Why not? Yeah, sure. It's fine.
Poggers, dude.
Yeah.
Now, you know, I think that this is something that I want to handle very delicately. I haven't had a chance to talk to anyone about this yet, but he's been a developer on the team for a very long time. He worked with one of the very few developers that we've actually had on the podcast in the past. Chris Kaliki made a video about actually leaving Blizzard. Is there anything that you think that we should kind of look at with Chris actually leaving to kind of talk about the game as a whole? I mean, if there's anything that you guys want to avoid.
Did you see that,
it,
Preach? Did you see the video?
I have not seen this.
Really?
This is news to me as of literally right now.
Yeah, it was a really interesting,
Chris
eye-opening video. Basically, you know, he said a lot of the things that you'd expect him to say, and I think that it really just kind of felt like he was, I guess, like losing. He didn't really feel like the game was going in a direction that he had wanted it to, and he kind of just like left the team. I didn't really know because of that, but I think that was kind of like some of his concerns about the game and how it was being focused too much around the lore versus the actual player interactions, and he contrasted that to classic WoW and a couple of other things that were just kind of more building the game around more of a social environment like in classic WoW. And I think that really whenever he started playing classic, it kind of gave him a different perspective on it. And because he like shared some of his experiences playing classic and then seeing it compared to retail WoW in terms of the single player experience that retail WoW does kind of offer.
There was one talking point that was one of the ones I actually dialed in on a whole bunch. I actually like I even I DM'd him like instantly, and I was like, "Yo, this really hit home for me." The part when he was talking about the idea of the players being some of the most interesting drama in the game, and it's funny because one of his old coworkers in Kevin Jordan talked about that a whole bunch on Allcraft, and just being like, the game needs to be this base where that player drama can be created. It needs to be the stage for the players to make the most interesting stuff. And he was even talking about some of those things where it's like, yes, this could be a negative experience for someone, but it's a story that can still be viewed fondly by the community, right? Like, man, I remember
that was the most thing we were looking forward to coming back. When Classic was yet to come out, that was the thing that we I think we talked about it on Allcraft, is like, even the bad experiences are experiences and memories, and that's what the MMO is all about.
Well, I mean, you
And
have
the great ones as well.
you have an entire segment of your channel that's dedicated to drama. So I think that just goes to show how important it is.
Focus more on ERP.
Okay.
But yeah, it is.
Usually those are the same thing.
They're not wrong. That's what people remember. And it's the minority of things for the most part. It's like it's the same story that we have with Mythic Plus. Oh, Mythic Plus is the worst. It's not. A ridiculously large percentage of them are totally fine. It's so we only hear about the negative ones, but usually they're so absurd. It's amazing.
Yeah, I'd love to see like more things like that and more like social interactions. And I actually think the point that he brought up about the lore was kind of interesting. And I'm actually curious what your perspective on this is, Preach, because like you don't really, do you care about the lore in the game?
Couldn't give a shit.
Okay, all right. Well, do you think that I don't even know how to ask the question anymore. Basically,
you could try, but it's
okay.
I mean, I love story-based games so much. I play tons of story-based games. When it comes to World of Warcraft, nothing has ever grabbed me. Nothing at all.
Okay, can I say one thing? I love lore. I have always loved lore. I feel like Josh Allen's probably watching right now, just like but no, I've always loved lore in video games. And the thing is even if you aren't paying attention to the lore, if a game is good and it's built with the lore in the right way, it will add to the game. Now I'm going to use Genshin Impact as an example, and a lot of people are probably going to be like, oh, dude. But with Genshin Impact, one of the reasons that the world feels so cohesive and it's so beautiful that not many people will actually know about the lore is when you look at the game, each zone is actually based off of a country. So Mondstadt, the first zone, is based off of like an old school Germany, and it's taking myths from actual German fairy tales about a dragon and creating this cohesive story. The architecture and all of this world building that goes into place that you might not be reading all of the way into, it creates a world that actually feels real. Then you go into Liyue, which is the other zone. It's all based off of China. A lot of the arcs are focused on that. And then the next zone, Inazuma, is based off of Japan. The world feels cohesive because the lore that exists, even in the ludic elements. It is so important for the narrative to actually be strong to create a world that feels whole. And one of the problems with a lot of the elements in World of Warcraft in this current expansion, I think come down to the strategies of storytelling that they tried to implement. I think that the effects very much hampered the initial take on the game. And the first impression means so much. So many people left so quickly because of it. Now, systems design on top of that, even completely moving away from lore, put a bad taste in people's mouths. But I do think that lore is important.
I could give you two examples I think are really relevant here. Last week, I did a sponsored thing for a Facebook company that had like 6 million followers that was all about video games, and they wanted to introduce people to World of Warcraft. So it was alongside the Logitech was sponsoring it to go with the new microphone. And I was explaining, because I had the whole purpose of the show was that I was going to get one of their employees who's not played World of Warcraft and then take him on a whirlwind tour of what World of Warcraft is all about. And so I saw it as a good opportunity to reach out to people who probably look at WoW and are afraid of a game that's 15 years old, and they probably heard toxic, and you've got to be amazing at it or you don't get anywhere. So I was like, oh, cool, I can use this as an opportunity to show people it's not like that and to show them the cool stuff. So the thing that really annoys me about WoW's lore is that it does not affect the world in any way. So I was explaining, so I took him to Icecrown to show him the cracked sky. And I'm like, the sky is cracked, this woman... Karen has broken her helmet. It's caused the sky to crack. There's a fire guy. He's a bit angry about it. And then we went off to do Rathian to show him killing a dragon in a raid, all these kinds of things. And then he's like, oh, right. So I was explaining, I said, right now in the game, we're actually kind of under attack from an old god that's corrupted the world, and there's tentacles and things. He's like, where are they? I'm like, well, actually...
So
there only exist in two little zones that are miles away from anything, and it's not spread any further than that. It's just all the way over in a past expansion, and there's one right down there. And he's like, oh, okay, that makes no sense.
Yeah, he infected this one desert that nobody goes to anymore. Yeah, the old god, he's got like 3 NPCs there. You got to take care of them.
Yeah, and the same exact example, because he was asking me, like, what's been the story overall? And so I was telling him about Battle for Dazar Lore. It's like, because I made him make a Horde character so I could take him on a journey. And I said to him, oh, well, one of the raids was actually an attack on the city. So the Alliance actually attacked this city. They made this whole city into a raid. There was like a giant Donkey Kong. I was saying some of the bosses are really silly, and then there's some serious ones. There was an Ant-Man boss, trying to really spice it up for people who obviously, I can't say mecha talk. So I said it was Ant-Man for the Facebook audience.
Right.
And then I explained that, and then they sunk our fleet. But I'd also mentioned that we travel between the two landmasses by boat. So his immediate response after I said, and then they sunk the fleet, there was a huge explosion. He's like, oh, wow. So how were you traveling between the islands? I was like, completely fine and normally. It was not a problem. Everything was fine. And then Vashir, Nashatar opened a giant hole in the sea, attacked by sea monsters. He's like, oh, wow. So that must have affected the boats. I'm like, no, not at all, actually. We could do our island expeditions. We could do the whole thing. And nothing that happens
sail around the hole
affects anything. Yeah, you just apparently just went around it.
Yeah.
You could just queue for island expeditions. It's totally fine. We didn't have like an extra island expedition where your boat got attacked by a sea monster, because that would have been cool. Instead of reaching the island, you've been intercepted. Because this is what's happening in the game right now. So it would make sense that that's happening. We had to sneak into the other island. We had to do something like that. We had to take a little ferry boat. It dropped us off not at a main port, but somewhere else. Things like that. But we just don't have anything that reflects it. So I can't buy into a story that doesn't actually affect the world.
So the lore doesn't have any actual consequence.
There's nothing with a consequence.
Yeah.
It takes place in an instanced environment, or it takes place in Pandaria. Now, the corrupted zones are cool, but are we really under attack? Does Orgrimmar look any different? Does Stormwind look any different?
We're agreeing in one very important way. We definitely disagree in some, but I think your points are really well stated. But the one thing that I think the lore actually, where a lot of that problem started, which I think created a lot of the problem with this expansion in particular, is one of the only ways that the world really does feel affected in World of Warcraft besides this expansion is the fact that you are progressing through different zones because of level requirements and things like that. So you feel like you've gotten into a more dangerous place on a base level. You feel like you've gotten deeper into the story. So as well as getting levels, you feel like you've achieved something over the digital space that is World of Warcraft. The second that the scaling came in and the story became this like hodgepodge, nodal, non-linear crap.
Everything was its own little like separated vignette that didn't matter. And I'm glad that Shadowlands is getting rid of that.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. So that's why I think that the lore that's one of the things that I think makes the lore actually feel important. And I think that Shadowlands has moved in the right direction.
I think Fortnite's a good example of this. Like the way they've done announcements is so cool. I think me and you were talking about it last time we were in Germany, Rich, is they had that meteor coming, right? And it was in the skybox. And they didn't say anything.
Oh, yeah.
They just had it growing over months and months. So you would expect that, let's take a leaf out of that book. Because players are like ants in World of Warcraft, right? They're all over the landmass. There's not an inch of World of Warcraft that's probably not covered at some point during the week somewhere on some server. So in Northrend or something like that, you can have something happening. You don't need to make an announcement. It doesn't need to be in the patch notes. There could be a tentacle poking out of some snow. And it could be in a cave. And then somebody's going to find it and be like, what the hell's going on here? And then you can have it spreading. Then it pops up somewhere else, right? And Blizzard doesn't need to say a goddamn word. We'll find, this is what I'm talking about with the story you were talking about, Asmon, how it links back, is the players are telling that story. A guy found that on Ravencrest. We've got a report from Draenor, it's happening over somewhere else. And it's the players creating that story that's leading to something happening. And that's, instead of it being like, hey guys, today everything's corrupted. It's like, okay. I mean, I get we have to test this stuff, but there's nothing to test with just changing bits of the landscape, right? There's no gameplay to be tested or anything like that. It's just something creepy and fun happening in a living, breathing world. And I would love if they would go that way. And I might get more interested in the story. As it stands right now, it's a cutscene that I watch once, and then nearly every add-on I have auto skips a cutscene if I've seen it.
Well, with Fortnite, you know how they have those events too, where like you actually got to see the meteor hit. What if they did an event like that in WoW, and they saw you could see Sargeras' sword come down and stab Silithus. You could be in Silithus, and you could see the sword in the sky coming down, and it would kill everybody. Oh my god, it would be so cool.
Can you imagine someone crashed into the dark portal? It was gone. Right? You know, there's something happening, and then events like that start happening. I would be really interested if they could pull it off, and whether or not, because now we can level in any expansion, right? Mm-hmm. If one day Northrend started to sink into the ocean, something cool, let's just see what happens, and maybe we can get it back later or whatever, but to have something really interesting happen, unannounced, very cool, that's just happening, and we can go and see it. Do you remember? You might remember this, Asman. I don't know about you, Rich, but do you remember Cruel? And they just unleashed that demon
at the end of TBC, or sorry, end of
how
vanilla.
cool was that? And then you got that warning that Cruel was coming, and you were like, "Oh God!" And he just stomped
inside of
across the
Ironforge.
world.
I remember that shit. Oh my God. Yeah, and you were
People
just so near
hated
the
Deathwing killing them, though, right? Wasn't that like one of the ones that got negative feedback?
Deathwing was okay. Well, this is probably why Blizzard doesn't do these things.
Exactly. Yeah.
The zombie
like,
thing was really bad the first time they did it. I remember people were furious.
Yeah, the Scourge event was awful, and it was awful on the PTR. They tried to do it again.
Yeah.
And I will say I sided with the Boomer team. Like, this sucks. It really sucks. The cities were completely unusable. It wouldn't have been too bad. And I think this is where the misplay was. If they'd done the actual counter event outside of the cities. But it's what they did is where the quests are now. They're inside the cities. And they had the Scourge invasion inside the cities.
Yeah.
So you couldn't do any of the quests or anything. You couldn't get the resistance started. It would make sense if the Scourge took over the cities and we had, and this would what would realistically happen, right? If zombies overran the city, our base camp would be somewhere else that we've managed to, it might even be the crossroads as a Horde, because we could have defended that. We could have garrisoned it
Well, that
quickly.
was kind of how the Legion pre-expansion event was, and I like that one a lot. I thought that was probably my favorite one.
And I think that would have been okay if we would have had a temporary auction house and things like that. You know, the functionality would have been moved.
It'd be almost like a quarantine zone or something like that outside the city.
Exactly.
That would be really cool. Wow.
Yeah, some really cheap barricaded walls and things like that with people around it. That would have really made it work in terms of people overrunning the cities.
Yeah,
I think that would have been really cool.
I agree with you there.
Because that's what people moaned about. Oh, I can't use the AH, which is a legitimate problem.
Yeah, it's
and
annoying.
you couldn't do any quests. Every time you went near a quest NPC, someone infected you. You had to just run back to your corpse, then carry on flying. You know, it was just annoying.
They could also too. I mean, you know, we're talking about some of these events. I mean, they could throw in maybe like a Travis Scott concert or something like that. I think that could be pretty lit.
Yeah, that'd be great. But I think since it's the WoW audience, they could have like CCR instead.
Yeah, that'd be pretty lit too.
What do you mean? Yeah, of course it would be. What are you trying to say? That'd be awesome. You crazy? Yeah, no, I think it'd be great. I mean, it's anything like that would be fine. I'd love to see WoW do more kinds of little events like that, like the opening of the gates of AQ, like just those little things that make people think to themselves. It's the same as a chat thing, right? I mean, everybody's had this in your stream. I was here, and like that kind of stuff definitely makes the experience better. And I don't know.
I think it's just stronger marketing too, right?
Yeah, of course. It's crazy.
People didn't care about
it's the best kind of marketing.
Yeah, they cared about the gates opening. Nobody cared. It's not like what date is patch 8.3. No one cared. People cared about when the gates opening. That has so much more fire. It has so much more pop. So that's the kind of thing I think is just better. It's like even if you don't want to play 8.3, you've got to be there for the gates opening. Yeah, you've got to be there when we crack into Nyalotha because we're gonna bust in there. You know, things like that. I think that would have been sick.
Anytime that it's a forum for shared experience, it always feels like the game is winning, and it's always something that generates those memories as well, which I think goes in line with a lot of the things that Chris Kaliki actually said in his YouTube video as well, which was one of the reasons I wanted to bring it up. Now, I do want to ask right now, when we're about to get into the new expansion, obviously, no matter what happens, the first few days, it's always a bunch of fun, right? Like, we know that that's going to happen. Like, it's going to be fun. Is there anything, though, that could really mess with those first few days that feel very Shadowlands specific, Preach, that you're kind of keeping an eye on?
Oh, the more, and at least only for performance-focused players. Farming the more daily could really kill the experience for those guys. But I mean, we're talking about very few people. I think it's unnecessary because you can farm adding gem slots to your gear. The more's not particularly fun. But in terms of lag and all that kind of stuff, not really. I think we're going to be okay. I feel like we're going to be all right.
I freaked out during the last expansion. The last expansion was like, was it bad for everyone?
WOD was what was bad. It was so bad they gave people their sub time back because people took time off to play the game because it was so heavily anticipated. And then the servers were down for like 5 or 6 days nonstop.
I went out. I mean, I was making, I'm a YouTuber about World of Warcraft content. I played for about half an hour. I just went out and went to the cinema. I just couldn't be. They couldn't get the garrisons working. The entire phasing technology was broken. So it took them over a week to get that technology working.
Yep.
A lot of my friends leveled to, I think it was 100 was the level cap then, without a garrison. Like, so then once they capped, they had to go back and do the garrison fresh, and it sucked.
I remember
I just stopped playing.
It was so dysfunctional that we couldn't do anything outside of Shadow Moon Valley, and there were these little bugs that we were able to kill in a cave, and we were just farming these little baby bugs and killing them until we could finally leave the zone. It was so bad.
Yeah. Yeah, but the last expansion wasn't too bad. A couple of servers had it. It depended on your realm cluster, I think. A couple of servers had it bad. This time, I think that the phasing technology is in a place where we should be fine. They're going to heavily like break us up into little pieces. You know, someone just said something which would have been super cool.
What's
if
that?
they cracked the sky before BlizzCon, like in game, and then we would have got the cutscene that might happen.
Wow.
Wouldn't that have been amazing if you had logged in one day and, you know, they would have had something in game like a flash or whatever. But, I mean, this is from chat. This isn't my idea. But if they cracked the sky the week before BlizzCon, and we were like, what's happened? What is that? That looks bad. Then you would have been hyped, right? Yeah.
You would see so many people, too, just standing around, probably in-game, just like...
Yeah, like something's going to come out of it, right? Are we going it? Someone try to get in it.
Yeah, people are like flying up into the sky against the top of the skybox ceiling. Just look with their mount. Yeah, it'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Would you freak out if the dagger was gone one day? It's like Serge's sword, if it was gone?
You just fly over there, it's gone? Yeah, I'd freak out.
Where is it?
Yeah, where'd it go? What the hell happened?
That would be cool. If they had an idea to pay it off and not just like, yeah, it's gone now, we just took it out of the game, right? I'm not saying that, but if it was gone and then, you know, it led to something, that would be really...
It was just an Azerite geyser coming out of it or something.
Yeah.
Too.
It's pouring out. Yeah. That would be
cool. Like that would be cool. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I am very curious if they try to make more events like that. But yeah, I think for the most part, this expansion looks like the release is going to be pretty similar to what we've seen in the past. After the dust settles and people start to get into that flow that you outlined at the very beginning of Allcraft Preach, what do you expect is going to happen? And like, what do you want to see happen? Like, what's your ideal scenario as this new form of content where a lot of it's not really required for player power growth is now implemented?
I hope the adaption. I really hope we don't see a bunch of people, because what will happen is there's going to be some people who don't like any of the optional things, right, at all, and they're not going to be forced to do it. So, like, a lot of us disliked islands, but we were forced to do it. So, you know, you kind of got on with it. In a world where it's entirely optional, and you're like, well, I'm not doing warfronts, I'm not doing islands, I'm not farming Azerite power. If we didn't have to do any of those things, there will be those guys who literally don't like anything that's in the game, and they're not being forced to do it either, who are going to be very heavily complaining. That's going to be one of the things. The other one is the really dramatic reduction in loot is going to be hard to get used to, but I think that pays for itself in about a month, so it might be a lot of early complaining, because we get a lot less loot, but it should be of much better quality, so you should feel really good when you're getting armor again. But that's going to be very different from a lot of people who are used to doing maybe a day of playing and coming back with bags full of stuff. And
you're just done with everything.
High level upgrades, and calling it good. We're not going to really have that in the Shadowlands. It's going to be a case of work. Everything's very focused, and Ian was backing that up again today. He's like, the gear you want, like if you want a legendary recipe, you want specific items, you want to get certain conduits, that's your focused play on to go and get it. If you want it, that's where it is. Go and get it. And a much more classic style of play. But like similar to what we said before with like when MOP started and we had that list of chores, a lot of people are used to just having quite a lot of items just appear from doing anything, you know, and certainly with Warforging and Titanforging gone as well, not all of it's going to be epic. So people are going to need to get used to that. But once the Mythic Vault kicks in and you start getting a good item out of that vault every single week rather than the week of disappointment, I think that's when people go, oh, okay, this is actually a good thing.
Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll just take some... they'll have some growing pains. I'm happy about that. I mean, I think the reduction in loot will hopefully achieve that. Because, like, right now, it just feels like you have so many items. And I actually forgot to even do this today, but I cannot wait to start vendoring all my Azerite gear, man. Oh, it's going to feel so good.
It's really good until cap, though.
Oh,
if you're mythic geared, you're good until, like, heroic dungeons.
Oh, my God. I actually heard that the necklace and the cloak are still good even in the into the raid because of the proc.
Yeah, I think they're nerfing them, I think.
Yeah.
which they should. But this is fine because there's not as much as a power creep. There's a good reason they're doing it, right? Because literally by the time you're doing heroic dungeons, you will be letting go of your old. If you've got like BIS gear now, you'll be fine up until heroic dungeons. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not a case of we should go in and get a whole brand new set of power level.
You remember, dude? They did this in TBC. Like Nax gear
we had
was
clown
still
suits
good.
immediately.
Yeah,
Nax gear went playoff and in Wrath. They all cleared it in
everybody was doing Nax 10 man and Sunwell gear.
Yeah, exactly.
It was in like Cataclysm whenever.
Power leap this time, which is really nice to see.
Yeah, Cataclysm had a huge power jump. It was insane. And so like I remember like what was like a heroic Lich King gear, like 284, and then like the Cataclysm heroic gear was 346. That was a massive fucking difference. So like
so they've squashed it down this time. So you'll keep your gear longer, but you will replace it in the super early game. Let's put it out though. We've got a lot of people here. Don't go and buy pre-raid BIS, please, for millions of gold.
Yeah.
Don't be one of those guys. Please don't get ripped off by all those guys out there who are going to sell you like absolute trash that's useless as soon as the raid and Mythic Plus comes out. I hated that. Every expansion, people linking, I'm full 340. I'm like, dude, that gear is so bad. I spent 4 million gold and I have, and Rich is the worst, right? You're trying to do that. You are. You're like, I'm full M0 geared and it cost me every penny I have. And then suddenly the season starts and you're just so bad and poor. Don't do it.
Preach! The bank froze my card. Can you spot me one more piece, brother?
I really need this absolute garbage M0 item, please. It's only 1.2 mil. It's a steal.
Okay. I watched the video, dude. Shut up. I watched the video. I'll be better this time.
Please. It was so sad last time. I had so many people coming to me saying, "Oh, dude, I just hit full 340," and then the next week they were so sad. When everybody just went, "Oh, well, I'm 370 now," or whatever.
Yeah, it's like, so I did the raid and I got this better gear than the thing that I farmed for 2 years to get the gold to buy. Yeah, but
I did Mythic Plus 2, and now I'm so much better geared.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Like for me, I might buy like one BOE or something like that, but I'm not really even going to worry about it until the raid comes out. I mean, the odds are it's going to be easy anyway. So for like normal mode, and it'll be just fine.
Yeah, it'll be fine. Yeah, it's the balancing is going to be crazy, but it should be interesting. Really curious to see what it's like because it's all over the place right now. But that was expected.
So, do you think that like I guess I have a question. Like, so for the Castle Nathria World First Race, do you think it's going to be over in a few days or a few weeks?
It depends who you talk to.
Yeah,
depends on which guild you're talking to.
Yeah,
I spoke to them all a lot, and I can tell you that the range of thoughts I've had from the guilds involved is it will be done on the day the game comes out. To I think we're going to be there for a month because everything's going to be a shit show for imbalance.
Okay. So nobody has any idea.
I'm just glad I'm not casting it, right? I felt bad like dropping out of casting until it was Christmas. I wouldn't have been home for Christmas.
Yeah.
And that ain't going to fly with my family. So when they said it's raining over Christmas, I was actually kind of dodged a bullet there, honestly.
Yeah.
Let me open up this calendar really quick for what my prediction was. I think the big thing is if I was Blizzard, right? I feel like I would try to make sure that they didn't have to staff up through the holidays if they could avoid it, right?
I bet it's either going to be over. I think it's either going to be over in 3 days or 3 weeks, and there's going to be no in between.
There's a couple of bosses in there that could be awful.
Yeah, I could see it being something where, like, at the very beginning, like it's just a complete joke, and then they have to buff it or something like that too. Because I think that Blizzard does view the World First Race as advertising for their for the product, so they would want to have it last longer.
Ways, right?
Oh yeah.
What they don't want is the average viewer comes in, watches Limit, Echo, whoever pieces, and smash it into pieces in a day, and then they just go to their friends, at school or whatever, saying, "World of Warcraft is so easy.
This game's a joke." Yeah.
This game's so easy. And did you see that hardest raid got beat in a day? That's such negative marketing because people believe that stuff, despite that, the average player still can't do the mythic raids. They're still too hard, even today, even after watching how it's been done. But that's the feedback. I don't think Blizzard ever wants that feedback. They don't want another Emerald Nightmare, so they could just randomly buff some stuff. Like the bosses are really nice. There are definitely some that could be problematic though.
Yeah, I mean, hey, look, we know that they're watching when Limit almost accidentally killed the boss in an unintended way. Bang, servers down, right? So we know that they're not going to let that happen. I don't think that we'll have an Emerald Nightmare for some of the exact reasons you say. But I feel like if you were trying to perfectly get this set up, you would probably want it to end on the 22nd, right? Because then you get the best of both worlds. You get one full reset, and then after that, everybody goes home for the holidays.
A week is fine. Jaina was a week. N'Zoth was 2. Yeah. So like just before the end of the
took a while,
week.
yeah.
Yeah, but that was mainly just N'Zoth. So a week, anywhere from a week, one reset to 1 reset and a half is a really good length. That's a good indicator for most players that they're going to have a decent challenge that isn't absurd. There's no Kill Jaden in there or something. So it's... I think the guys should be done before Christmas, ideally. I hope they are.
No, but really it's like it's Christmas Eve. Blizzard's like, okay, cut the boss's health in half. Let's go. Let's call it a day, boys. It's done. We're over.
Yeah.
What was the thing that happened? There's that old World War II story where the people in the trenches, like
World War One, and they
World War One? Yeah.
And they
they
both
stopped fighting on Christmas Day.
Yeah, and they started playing soccer on Christmas Day.
That is not going to happen with Ray Guilds.
Literally more peace in World War One on Christmas Day.
Good luck convincing Max of that, right? That's not going to happen, dude. Right, let's get them all around the table. Let's convince them we're not going to do it. Sure. And then you've got them spies checking what the guilds are doing. They're inside. I can see them.
Yeah.
They're in there. They're raiding.
Dude, chat's confusing me. Was it football or soccer?
Probably the
soccer,
same thing.
Wasn't it?
I mean, you got to remember they're in Europe.
Yeah, same thing.
No.
It's soccer.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Now they're both okay.
There's so much money involved now. People are like, who cares? It's the world, who cares about world first guilds? It's an industry now. Like, there's a lot of money. They rely on, you can't pretend that doesn't exist. So it really matters that they have to be there. They have sponsorships to own up to, and, they have mouths to feed. It's become a full industry. So it does matter.
And winning's super important for those guilds too, right? Because if you think about it, you talk about those sponsors.
Third place last time.
Stars?
Are you sure?
I'm not sure. No,
exactly.
I was there.
Exactly. Okay.
To be fair, like usually when if I'm casting method, it's pieces. I'm sorry. It was pieces, but usually the job stops immediately after method finishes when I casted the last one.
Oh yeah, I'm on the plane the second that a guild kills the boss. Like,
it's after showtime, right? They literally tear down that studio at 20 minutes after the boss dies. Like every PC is off. That's it. Like, it's over. Okay, rip the place to bits.
All right, I'm going home. Yeah.
Rich has left 3 days ago because he full CBA'd.
Oh yeah, I was like, it's gonna die eventually. I'm gonna go cast.
I'm gonna go cast Call of Duty. Bye.
I don't like this boss.
What are we doing? Killing tentacles again? Bye. I'm off to Germany or something, or London. Something like
I went to London and I casted Call of Duty tournament. Dude, that boss was the worst boss ever. Like,
how do you know? You didn't cast it for days like I did. Oh my god. And there's Gingy, firing fireballs at tentacles. If we look over this way, there's Miras, shooting tentacles. This is it for the next 4 days.
I remember waking up every morning.
There's a hidden phase coming.
I stopped watching. The only way that I would tell is like how high the viewer count for the stream would tell me how close they were to killing the boss. It's like, okay, they've only got 30K viewers. Yeah, it's not going to happen. Yeah, right. I would come back later on.
That's what I felt about Jaina, because I left the studio before Jaina died, and I think it was Gingy who walked over, and he was like, "Yeah, they could die at any time," and I just went, "Bye," because that means it is not dying today. And it was absolutely correct. If they're not saying like, "Yeah, it's dead in like 2 pulls" or whatever, that means it's all day. So I was like, see you then, and I just got on a train and went home. Bye.
It's funny, like after doing a few of the races, because Preach and I have done basically all of them, most of them together as well. And
I missed one. I think I missed one.
Yeah, I did the first one, and then there was one when we did separate events. And the thing is, though, is like is just a way that the guilds talk about the pools where you always know when something's going to happen. Like there are obviously like little small things that will stray away from it when there's that mystery, but you know when they're not close and you know when they feel like they're about to get it. And it's really cool to actually be at the event. And that's why I hope one day we really do have an experience where the people who are watching can kind of feel some of that too. I hope one day.
Don't say what we've thought about. Don't say it.
Yeah, I'm just saying one day.
We have to get some hands shaken. We have to get some friends together.
The
worst, actually, though, on that note, was Jaina. Is I'd gone back to the hotel and I got a phone call from the head sponsor of the event saying I needed to be in studio from 6 a.m. because it was Battle for Dazralo. They're going to kill it very early in the morning. And it's when they found out this voodoo shuffle thing. And they were ready to kill it. So I got this phone call. I was like going to bed. It was quite late. I'd already casted. And it was like, you need to be in the studio at like 6 a.m. tomorrow. They're going to kill it as soon as the stream starts. And I was like, oh my God. And he's like, make sure you get a good night's sleep. And I'm like, how can I get a good night's sleep? Because I have to get up at 6 a.m. and then cast this world first kill. And it's the thing I really want to do, blah, 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 blah. And they didn't start raiding till 3 p.m. And I just went home. And that was my whole day. Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch.
And then I woke up and I got to cast it.
You got to cast it. I got on a train and went home, and then you woke up with a face full of fish and chips that you got from a pizza box, which nobody in the UK sells. I don't know where you found it. And you were like, I'm having authentic English food, which none of us recognized.
Oh, that's perfect.
It was the Shoreditch fish and chips right next to the Subway.
That's so sure, dude. I've never seen anybody get fish and chips in a pizza box. It was so bizarre.
Oh,
it was right off of Brick Lane where you got the salted beef and the bar where the dude outside when Esfand and I were doing the IRL stream and he stole Esfand's hat and he touched my my fish and chips. That right there. I remember it like it the back of my hand. I had a lot of fun at those London shows. Very cool. Yeah,
that's why I'm glad I'm not doing it this time around. But
man, now I feel like I missed out. You guys talk about how much fun you guys have eating food.
You were invited. Don't pretend.
He was invited every time.
Every time you're invited.
Like, I don't know, dude.
I've invited you to every PreachCon. Oh, but I have to leave my bedroom. Oh, it sounds like you had a blast.
All right, yeah.
Oh no, dude.
Okay.
Kind of like I got shit to do, dude. Not
and then all the pictures come out.
Oh man, guys, dude, I wish I was there.
Next time.
I so many influencers, and they're like, "Oh no," you know. And then after they see all the pictures and the videos, and they're like, "I can't believe I didn't go."
Yeah,
dude. And then when Asmon does actually go to something in person too, it's always like the most stressful roller coaster of emotion leading up. Like I remember the one BlizzCon year, the first time that we actually hung out, like 2 hours before, he's like, I'm not doing it, dude. I was like, what the heck? Like, are you playing everything? And then all of a sudden he was like on the plane with Reeve and he was like, changed my mind.
All right, fuck it, let's do it.
You didn't even come to the last BlizzCon, did you?
No, I didn't. No, I did not.
The last one.
I went to TwitchCon and that was a real adventure.
I got told to stay away from that one.
That one's bad.
Yeah, I got told to stay away from that one.
That's good. It's good. Smart.
It's like it's always like it's just a weird vibe. It's like the school dance, but like all of a sudden the one person like has the courage to walk up to the other side and it's like, hey, like remember I hosted you that one time? The whole thing is super cringe. Yeah, it's super cringe. I really like. I never say the way. I like TwitchCon's a weird one for me. I love BlizzCon though. BlizzCon is the only like the only convention that I look forward to each year because it actually feels like you're hanging out with a bunch of friends.
Well, it feels so different. Like I refuse to work BlizzCon. Like
well, now that they fired me, it's going to be so much fun.
Oh, we can have so much fun now.
I can't wait. Yeah, I was kind of bummed that right after they fired me, literally right after
you got fired. This is great. The whole event.
Yeah, I literally was even talking to like all of my buddies at Blizzard. I was like, "Yo, this is sick! Like that I got fired. We can finally hang out." It's like, "Yeah!"
I didn't see you at all the last BlizzCon. We were every party, everything. You wouldn't. Yeah, I don't think you even came to. I don't think I saw you once. I don't think I spoke to you once at the last BlizzCon.
So yeah, the last BlizzCon was particularly bad because they decided to do full tournaments on both days, and I was the only one who was doing both tournaments, right? So I had to do MDI and I had to do AWC, and each one was like a 16, 18-hour day. So I didn't really get to see anyone. And then after that, I had like party obligations like the signings and all that stuff. So I just didn't really see anyone. I forgot that Zach wasn't there. But hey, I don't have a job anymore, so like we can all.
If you'd done a better job pulling double shifts, you wouldn't have got fired, would you?
I don't think that's what it was.
Useless asshole, can't even work 18 hours a day.
Yeah. No, I mean, hey, look, I got to do what? I think it was 3 or 4 BlizzCons. Great memories. I'm excited to actually be on the other side right now and actually get to enjoy one of them eventually when the world's back to normal. Because at BlizzCon, you get to talk to all of the people that make the game so gosh darn great, and that's exactly what we're going to do right now. We're going to take a look at some of the questions that you guys actually did send in, and we'll start to talk about some of the things that we're really expecting with this expansion. So if you do want to tweet out right now, you can just tweet out with the hashtag Allcraft. I'll be looking at that right now. Or if you want to just tweet at me right now, it's super easy. It'll pop up in my notifications. That's why I'm looking at my phone. I did not fall asleep like you guys always love to say, and I am also sitting down right now. So you're going to look for some of those questions. What
do you do first, Asmon, in Shadowlands? What's your just straight leveling?
I'm gonna try to go for server first, max level, like we always do, and then after that, probably do the dungeons, fall asleep, and then wake up and do the dungeons again, and then try to kill every single elite mob in the entire Shadowlands with my stream.
Are you going straight to get the rare mounts and things like that? Like you, in terms of optional stuff, you're gonna leave that and go straight for like collectors stuff?
Yes, that's my end game. I'm gonna get all the mounts, all the pets.
Did you guys talk about the multiboxing thing? I haven't seen your thoughts on it.
Good. That's my thoughts.
Yeah.
Fuck them. Yeah. Really? I mean, yeah, they're sitting there trying. It's basically cheating, you know? I mean, you're paying extra money to get extra stuff. I mean, how is that not cheating? I don't know how it's not.
Did you know any?
I found out because they came into my chat pissed off because, you know, they're getting shut down. And they even got mad about this because I said I was going to go around with my stream and like the police, you know, and we would go and find them and we'd fucking all report.
A little policeman's hat and a badge.
Yeah, we all go and report them together to make sure to get rid of them. And they're like saying that I'm like abusing my power and everything like that and getting mad about it. Oh yeah, it was a really interesting couple of days. I was really happy to see it though. I'm glad Blizzard made a decision for it.
Yeah, the guy's ruining the economy. Like, especially in the high-end PvE scene, nearly everybody was multiboxing, but not to the.
Not to like an 8x.
Not in a malicious way, which was like ruining the economy and picking every herb. You would never see those guys. They just used to do like islands on their own, you know, shit like that.
Yep.
That's what they were doing it for. I just hope. I'm really wondering because professions are getting so much more interesting in Shadowlands and are more vital to the whole game. What the difference on the AHs is, because you remember with BFA launch, the AH was a nightmare. Because multiboxing like popped off over BFA because of the Azerite farming, right? That's why I know a lot of my friends who did it. It wasn't to get like herbs or farm. They would never do that. They were just doing it to stop doing dailies over and over and over again for hours and hours. But it cost us like 13 million to raid the first tier for potions.
It was ridiculous. Yeah, it was insane.
I wonder how it's going to be this time.
I don't know, but I know if it gets that expensive, there's going to be a lot of people that are willing to go over and want to maybe learn herbalism or learn alchemy. Yep. And that's what professions are about. I know, like in Classic WoW, like multiboxing was so fucking annoying in Classic WoW. Like, I don't know how much you still raid. I don't think you raid in Classic anymore.
I don't. I did.
Dude,
I did an Xperia and MC. Once the nostalgia was off and it got to like playing, I was like, I don't want to do this bit anymore.
Oh,
that's
dude.
not what I mean.
Like, so every single multiboxer would be like a 15-man mage multiboxer, and they would wait with all of their corpses dead at the entrance of a raid, and they would all res up simultaneously and spam Arcane Explosion and Goblin Sapper and blow themselves up and kill the entire raid. It was the most annoying, obnoxious, stupid thing you could possibly imagine, and now they're fucking
every
gone.
day.
Well, every Tuesday, yeah. Every fucking Tuesday.
Oh my god.
It's awful.
Yeah, I heard a lot about Classic. Like a lot of people telling me that Classic has been the most affected.
Oh yeah.
But I didn't know how bad it was over there.
Yeah. Rich, you got a question for us?
Why is he giggling so much?
Who knows?
There are a lot of actually really great questions this time around. Like really great questions. So I just want to say thank you guys so much. Now there's this one question that came in. This is from Grim. He says, do you think that some of the negativity around the game sometimes is just a bubble? Like content creators and the people who view their content feel negatively, and it can create like a mob mentality. But outside of that, is it more positive? Which I actually think is a very good question.
So here's the thing with that is like anytime that you see like a post about like WoW on like Reddit that hits the mainstream, there will be a lot of people that will say things that echo sentiments that content creators are saying regularly. And also I think that people usually just say that in order to rationalize negativity and compartmentalize it. It doesn't make any sense that the vocal majority of people would be the complete opposite of the non-vocal majority of the people. So I don't think that really you have enough evidence to say that all of the people that are speaking bad about the game are the minority and all the people that are enjoying the game are the majority. Because there's plenty of people who stop playing the game. Look at Warlords of Draenor, for example. Look how many people that they lost in terms of subscribers. It's very obvious that there are a lot of people who don't say anything but just quit and stop playing silently because they're not over melodramatic like we are. So it makes sense that that's what's going to happen with most people. And I just think that it's compartmentalizing, complaining, and rationalizing it to say that the people that are just, you know, saying bad stuff about the game are in their own echo chamber, because I think that echo chamber reflects what a lot of people think whenever they actually quit the game.
Yeah, I think, you know, obviously anything that we have is not going to be data driven. It's going to be anecdotal. And I think Asmon brings up a lot of really good. Asmon obviously has a large viewer base, which is going to have some people who are more outside of that audience, more so than other people. So that's interesting to actually be able to look at. For me, when I was casting other games, like I would get to talk to a lot of people who didn't necessarily play WoW, maybe played like something like Call of Duty, and you would hear their opinions. And, you know, after hearing everything all over the place, what usually happens is what we think. And this is anecdotal, of course. Everybody goes, yo, new expansion's coming out, I'm going back. I love World of Warcraft. I'm a gamer. I'm coming back. And then if the new expansion does certain things wrong and it puts a bad taste in people's mouth, people get fed up and they instantly leave the game and they go to something else. And I feel like that's one of the most important things is how good does the beginning of the expansion hold on to all the players who come back? I think that's something that really sets the tone for the next 2 years of the game every time.
A different one over here, because I think we mentioned it. An example of this earlier on with Torghast is you have to be careful if you're about the bubble thing. One thing I'm always trying not to do is say things are easy, because I don't know exactly how hard it is. Like if you've been playing the game for like 15 years or whatever, and you're playing at a mythic level, then you're going to find certain things easy. And I'm not going to put out a video saying, guys, this is, you know, Mage Tower is so easy or anything like that, because I don't know. Like we said, why they changed Torghast, I don't know. Maybe a lot of people were wiping there. I'm not sure. And you've got to be careful not to be in the bubble where you take your own point of view as the only point of view. When it comes to overall game systems, though, I mean, I go through a cycle pretty much with every expansion. Is all the positive stuff is fine, everything that's positive. Anything I'm critical of, you get labeled as the naysaying YouTuber. That's not a bubble. It's just what people say. Oh, you're just doing it for clicks or whatever. And then the sad truth is, most of the time, we're not wrong. It's very rare. Like, we have been wrong sometimes, but like you look at BFA, for example, nearly everything we called in the alpha came to pass, and most of the stuff so far in the Shadowlands has. So I don't think we're in a bubble, but I rely a lot on my audience to tell me if I'm being a prick, and they're quite good at doing that. I do rely on those guys. You know, like I'm more supported by like Patreon and Twitch than YouTube, and those guys want the best for me, so they'll be quite quick to tell me if I'm being in a bubble or I'm being a prick about something, or if I'm way off. You know, I think you have to be open to the idea that maybe you're totally off. Like the multiboxing is a good example. So I got blasted on Twitter as if I was supporting multiboxing, which I wasn't. Like the guys who are taking every herb, making millions of gold in a single evening, that's cheating. That's not the way it's supposed to be. But I also know dozens and dozens of players who all multibox, who nobody would ever see them. Like I said earlier, they'd play to get around the fact that if they didn't multibox, they probably wouldn't even play the game at all because of the chores and systems. Those guys legitimately only do this multiboxing thing because of the way the game is, and the way they like to play the game is ruined by how the chores in the game are. So there is a contrasting side to it. But I got blasted for that because, of course, all anybody ever knows about multiboxing is the mages blowing up people at MC, all the druids moonfiring them and sunfiring them and killing them in one hit, or thunderstorming them everywhere, or ruining BGs. And absolutely, I'm so glad that's gone. but also a little sad for the guys who, especially the older generation, who still raid. They couldn't. And I've said this: if I didn't do this for my job, I could not play BFA. There's no way. I could not possibly play the game how I enjoy to play it, which is just all I want to do is Mythic Raid, right? That's my main focus. I do a number of other things, but my main focus is that. I could not do that if I was working a 9-to-5 job and having a family. I couldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. And I would have left World of Warcraft. So I totally get that guys do multi-boxing to do triple AP farms at the same time because they just want to play their alts. Yeah.
I mean, dude, I felt this. Look, I could play the game all I wanted to, and I didn't play the game, right? Which was like such a strange experience because it was like, wait, what the heck? And I think like a lot of the time, you know, people go like, is it because you can play it as much as you want? It's like, nah, like let me play PoE, right? Like, and I would play PoE for, you know, 16, 18 hours a day, and I would always feel like there was more to do. I can play, dude, everybody makes fun of me for it, but like God's honest truth is when I'm not working right now, there's a lot of work that I am doing right now, which maybe does keep the game somewhat fresh. But I look forward to playing a game like Genshin Impact. I've been playing a lot of old school RuneScape, right? Like the game doesn't get old, even though I can play it. It was just something about BFA and how it was actually situated, where even though I could do it all day and could just do that, I didn't enjoy it. This is a question directed directly at Preach. It says, what are your thoughts on Castle Nathria? I've just started to lead a guild for progression rating, and I'm interested to hear your thoughts on the fights and how enjoyable it is, and even if you like the aesthetic.
I'm not a big fan of the aesthetic, actually, but I'm in the minority there. Again, I'm outside my bubble. Same thing. I don't... Revendreth is amazing and awesome and my favorite zone in Shadowlands, but Castle Nathria doesn't seem to reflect that outside of a couple of very cool rooms, and they do have a couple of very cool rooms. Right now, it seems to be a little too heavily ranged focus, which it didn't seem at the start, but it's gone more that way as there's a couple of bosses in Castle Nathria that they haven't been able to get right, and we've had to retest them, I think one of them 6 times now, and they've changed it every single time to try and get it good, because it hasn't paid off.
Yeah, I heard that they redesigned a few boss fights. Didn't they redesign a few boss fights like 3 times over?
Yeah, it's really cool, actually, and we're doing a little project on it right now, because what do you do, right? You're Blizzard. So you sit down, and I'm going to pitch a fight to you, Asmon. You ready? It's going to be sick. You ready?
Yeah.
I'm going to pitch you this fight. There's this giant dragon. It's literally shattered and sundered the entire planet.
I'm ready.
And what we're going to do is we're going to have a raid fight where we're literally clinging to its back, and it's going to be barrel rolling, and we're going to be trying to rip its armor off and dig inside it. And we're going to like be clinging. We're literally going to have tendrils come outside of it that we have to hold on to, or it's going to throw us off the dragon into the ocean.
That is badass.
Isn't that badass? And then unfortunately, when you put the pen down and start putting the code in, you're like, oh my god, this fight is fucking terrible.
Yeah.
What happened, right?
Yeah.
So, and that happens. Then that's fine. That's not a problem. No one's bashing Blizzard. The idea of it is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But it just didn't pay off in practicality. So there's a couple of fights in Castle Nathria like that. The main culprit is the dance fight, which we read about and sounded really cool.
Yeah, I've heard about this.
We have to line dance, right? That was what we read. We had to line dance. And I was like, this is going to be really funny. You read the dungeon journal before the test. We're going to be line dancing as an entire raid and all this kind of stuff. And then you get in there, and it's like something that should belong in the introductory temple to Legend of Zelda 1 on the NES. Like, it's really bad. It's like so bad. And they've redesigned that fight. I think it's 6 or 7 times we've had to test it. And the last time they changed it again to try and get it working in a fun way. Because the feedback universally was like, this fight is just terrible. It's just a weird intermission where we just stand around doing nothing. And it's not fun. It's not funny. I don't know what to do. So they're working on it. So it's kind of cool to see them sit down and say, right, we can't change the room. We've already built that. We can't really change the 3 bosses because we've made them. So how do we make this fight better and make it work? And it's been really cool to watch that. But what we're going to end up with, I don't know. What is that? Oh.
I don't know.
Prosciutto.
Okay. It looks a little weird because you're in the dark. It looked like you're eating human flesh.
Yeah, I was about to say something like that.
Castle Nathria.
Yeah, you got that from Castle Nathria, exactly.
It's such an anime vampire.
Yeah.
I'm a very scary vampire.
Look,
The reason I changed it halfway through is because my reflex was to go, I'm a vampire.
Oh my god!
I didn't want to start chat off with that. I turned into a Twilight vampire. I started sparkling.
Yeah.
So, what are the odds that some of the specs, like feral and enhancement, get ignored with regards to tuning throughout the entire expansion? That's from Gary.
30%.
I hate when dude, I hate when he does that. I hate when he picks a random number and he's like, yeah, 45%.
I don't think that it's random though. Is it really random though? Like, here's what's gonna happen. Is that one of these specs is going to be ridiculously overpowered in a situation that's very visible to the player base. Blizzard will then, in response to that, nerf the shit out of that spec for the rest of the expansion. It's the same thing as Demonology Warlocks. Demonology Warlocks are either at the bottom or at the top. They're never in the middle. They are either the best class that can one-shot you and you don't even have any counterplay, or they are so garbage and pathetic and terrible as if you ever see one on the enemy team, you know that you're going to win the game. That's it.
Yeah, the interview today says they're not going to do that, but the video that went out this evening, I said, I don't believe you.
Yeah, they said they're not going to do it.
Historically, you are hammer and nail when it comes to balancing.
Yeah.
That's how you do it. They're like, if you're overpowered in AoE, we're going to probably bring you back in line, but we're not going to stop you being powerful in AoE. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
But some of the aspects look really good. I almost had a Feral Druid as my main alt because they're so... I enjoy them, but they do have their problems.
They have plenty of problems. That's the main thing. Like, yeah,
they're very fun, though.
Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like a lot of those classes, especially hybrid classes, it feels like hybrid classes that can heal, it's been hard for Blizzard to really balance those. And I don't know if it's like a PvP concern, but I think that's probably part of it.
I don't feel that with my Moonkin. I played Moonkin all over BFA.
So
the problem with those specs is they're not, and this is so sad, is a lot of the crap is based on community perception, and it's been nice. Like Echo recently put out like a list of tier lists because people are asking.
Yes, I saw that.
Breathing down my neck, breathing down their neck. It's like, please tell us what's good, because people just want to play a class that they know they're going to be able to do whatever they want to do. That's all they're asking, right? I want a class that I can raid on, and I'm not going to get turned away because I'm playing the shit spec, which is totally understandable. But we don't know the answer right now because everything's a mess. So it might turn out like Elemental's looking really good right now. Didn't see that coming, but it is. Like at the start of the alpha, it was garbage, and now it's rocking. Like every healer's a resto shaman. There's so much weird stuff happening right now that you might just see feral druids pop up. You might just see the enhancement shamans be up there. Yep. It might happen. So it's hard to say right now.
You were talking about PvP. There were a few questions. Just how do you guys feel PvP is going to be once we get into the new X pack?
I'll be really curious to see what it's like without the essences and the Azerite gear, and to see like the pacing of it, because like the essences and Azerite gear are just such a massive impact on your damage right now that it's very hard to be able to tell what it's actually like without those things being there.
Yeah, I did. I've been doing a series of interviewing some WoW people that I wanted to talk to. I did one with Zayu 2 weeks ago, and he was talking about it as like it's a mess, but that's kind of fun as well. Because the PvP community, like the PvP always goes like it's a total shit show. Like when corruption came into the game and everyone was getting blasted by infinite stars or whatever. But their PvPers tend to adapt very quickly. The mates is always shifting there, so they tend to shift and move around. So I think it'll be the same as it always is. It'll be a complete crap fest for like a month, and then people will start getting used to it and adapt and overcome it, and it should be okay.
Yeah, probably like after the first set of like tuning, it'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, it's probably, something's going to blast someone, and then they're going to figure out how to lock that down. And so, you're aware that's going to happen, so we can lock it down, and then it usually starts to work itself out.
Now, this is a question that I think everybody here has probably answered a whole bunch, but we haven't said it in a long time. I feel like it's always good to say it before we head into an expansion. It's basically somebody saying, do you feel like when streamers and the WoW content is filled with negativity, in many cases it seems like hating on retail is a trend. How do you feel about it? To be completely honest, anybody who streams wants to like the game because it would make them more money, right? Like it's in everybody's best interest to like the game. So if you're in a situation where you really don't like the game, it's kind of bad. And also, you can tell, like, as much as streamers will try to be upbeat and positive at times too, sometimes they'll go in, they'll do something that they really don't enjoy. They've been playing for like 12 hours because they do want to make money, and then all of a sudden they start screaming about how everybody who's playing the game is a bunch of idiots, and they're running around in a maze, something like that, right? You never know. And it's pretty obvious when somebody truly isn't liking the game and they're not just jumping on a trend.
Bro, people look for negativity as well. I could look at my videos. People would discard 9 positive videos and focus on the one where it was critical about something.
Yeah.
As if it's all black and white, right? The game is either amazing or it's terrible. No, there's
a lot of really cool things with Shadowlands. There are some things that we're concerned about.
So much better than fucking BFA. So much better than BFA. Yeah, the covenant system's not ideal, but it's so much fucking better. And it pisses me off, man. There's people who come in and we'll talk 6 hours of positivity, and then someone will go, "You think the covenant system's any good?" And I'll say, "No, I don't think it's very good." It's like, fucking toxic streamer, man.
You'll never be happy.
Never happy until the game is apparently an FPS, which has been a thing recently. Like, what the fuck?
Wait, what? We're making WoW an FPS?
Surprise.
Yeah, surprise. Well, to be an FPS. But no, I think people go hunting for negativity is the sad truth. I think people hunt for it. That's what I see with like
people do in
my
comments,
videos on MMO Champ.
You get like 1,000 comments of people saying that you're a nice guy. You get 3 comments, somebody's an asshole. And it's like, you see this on Twitter, right? There'll be some guy that posts an update about X or Y thing, and then one guy will disagree with him, and that's the guy who he responds to.
Mm-hmm. And on YouTube, it's even worse because that's the comment that tends to get all the traction and gets pushed up. Mm-hmm. Because someone posts like, "Oh my god," and then that's the one that gets pushed to the top.
Yeah, it has 50 replies.
Yeah, and you can't moderate it because there's just too many, right? There's just too many. It's not going to work that way. So you just have to leave it there. But no, I don't think so. There are some negative streamers, but most of us not. Like, Rich is right. If I could stream World of Warcraft and there was so much stuff to do, I would make a ton more money. Like, realistically, that would happen because we have higher views during World of Warcraft. But look at my stream schedule personally. Like, I played Bug Snacks yesterday. I played PS5.
Some people tweeted about it.
You play Demon Souls?
Dude, it's insane. It's so dark. It's crazy dark for a kids game. It's insanely dark.
Who gives a shit about that game? Did you play Demon Souls?
No, because I only played the last one about 11 months ago. So I'm doing Spider-Man first. My PS5 came today because we got it a week later than you guys in the UK.
Okay.
So I'm doing Spider-Man first, then Demon Souls.
And it's Miles Morales, right? He's a cool Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah,
it's really good.
I've seen some stuff for that. I actually personally was kind of even more excited for that than Demon Souls. It looks like a good game. The Bugsnax thing is crazy though. Like, I literally have gotten, even in the Allcraft Q&A, the amount of people who are like, "Yo, ask Preach about Bugsnax. Ask Preach about Bugsnax." I didn't know that the game was coming out at first, and I literally thought, like, the other day that people were tweeting about drugs. I was like, dude, don't do Bugsnax.
I think it is supposed to be drugs. Like, I'm not even joking.
Wait, really?
It's so weird. It's I mean, the idea was that they based it on, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, right? So there are animals that are part of food. Kind of funny. And we were kind of looking forward to it as a one-off stream, that's really goofy, and we'll have a laugh with it. But the story is about loss. There's a man whose wife's left him, so he's turned a cactus into his wife, and every night he sneaks away, and he sits on his bed, and he talks to the cactus about his day and how he misses her. And then you find her, and she won't come home. She's sick and tired of him. And every fucking story, there's a guy who's they've made him the mayor, but no one likes him. And he tries to throw a party, and he's trying to dance, and everyone's telling him he's a piece of shit, and he should fucking die. And then he starts crying. It's like, so dark.
I don't play like FIFA or like any of those sports games because like the thing with me is, why would I play a game that's just me doing something that I could do in real life? So I don't think Bugsnax is for me. It is cool to see though that
no, you're not there, because everything you force feed them, the people of this town, Rich. So let's say you find a burger spider, right? And you catch it. You then take a person and you force feed them the burger spider. Then you could select which part of their body will genetically change into one of these things. So I went a little dark with it as well. I'm not going to lie. There was a girl who was very annoying in the game, and she said her favorite thing was hot dogs. So I spent a considerable amount of time turning her into an entire hot, skinless meat monster out of hot dogs. It didn't pay off. It didn't pay off. It wasn't a good result.
So you force-fed her the hot dog.
I force-fed her hot dogs until she became a hot dog.
That's
herself.
Awesome.
It got. I didn't want to stream it today because it changed me a little bit. It put me in a weird mood. Because my kids came home and they were like, "What are you playing?" I said, "Bug Snacks." And they'd been kind of hyped for it because they watched the E3 announcement and it looked really cute. And then he saw the skinless monster that I'd created that was clearly in permanent pain, and he didn't look impressed. So I had to pull back.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah. I really thought it was just a story for kids because, like, I saw Mizkif playing it, and he's like he's like 12 mentally, so I assumed that it was like an easy to read story. Yeah, we have one 12-year-old.
Gotta give people their chance, right?
Mizkif, yeah. He's probably so scared. He probably cried all night. Maya probably had to try to make him feel better about that one. Maya, I flew up.
Okay.
Let me take a look for another question here.
Yeah, you want to do one more?
Sure. Yeah. All right. So basically the questions are about loot. There are a few of these. Just the idea of loot in Castle Nathria and how you guys actually think it's going to feel with the differences in loot that you guys talked about at the beginning of the expansion. How do you think it's going to feel once we actually get into Castle Nathria? Is it going to be noticeable?
I don't know. Yeah, I think that the weapon tokens should be okay, but it just depends on like how many of them drop, and I don't know. Like I don't think it's going to be that much different, honestly. Like after a few weeks, it's going to be pretty much the same shit.
Yeah, we get only 3 items now per boss, at least in Mythic.
Yeah.
Compared to what we get now. That's going to be kind of a dramatic change, but I kind of hope, in a weird way, I'm kind of hoping for that item that doesn't drop that you're excited to see on the loot table. I haven't had that feeling in a long time. Yeah, you just like, even a pair of boots, like Myrmidon's treads in Black Temple, you know, like as a tank, God, I wanted those, and they would never drop. And I got excited about a pair of boots. If we can get even remotely back to how I felt
Shade
then,
of Akama?
I'd be so hyped. I think so. And I wanted the axe of Supremus, like it was an expertise axe. Oh, so good.
Yep.
The brutalizer.
Yep.
And it wouldn't drop. So I got my bulwark before I got the brutalizer.
What?
And it was, I got bulwark of Asnoth before that.
Oh my god.
And it's so dumb. But that's kind of the fun of it though, because when it dropped, I'm so happy.
That was a big
and
deal.
It's not Titan Forge, it's not Warforged, it's got gem slots up, fucking all that shit on it. It's there and it's mine. And, you know, that's cool. So if we get back to that, I'm pretty happy with that.
I felt the same way. Whenever I finally got Drakefang Talisman in Classic WoW, I was just so happy. Number 1, that I never had to do and teach another group how to do Fire Maul again. But number 2, that I had the item.
Yep. What is the bag guy thing? I keep seeing it, but I didn't pay attention to pre-patch because I thought it was stupid.
Yeah. So there's a boss in the pre-patch that drops a 34 slot bag. That's about it. There's nothing too crazy about it.
Yeah, it's just a rare. If you want a bag, I mean.
Yeah, I still have.
I'm really good with my bag space. Like it's so useless to me.
Usually, if I get a bigger bag, that just means I can carry 2 more useless items that I'll never use.
Yeah, your bags are a mess, right?
Oh yeah. They're I right now have 10 open slots. Yeah. And honestly, there's a few things I don't have. Might need to get those out in the bank and start using those, getting ready for leveling. We're probably going to go back down to about 3.
What are you carrying?
Well, let's see here. I'm
gonna send you a screenshot of mine for comparison.
Goblin Glider Kit, a Sky Step Potion if I want to run fast. I've got a gun shoes, a personal time displacer if I want to go to the alternate timeline in Mechagon. I've got the for some reason I have the Wards of Draenor epic version of the legendary ring in case I wanted to use it for time walking. I was testing it to see how the scaling would be. I've got Draft of Souls as well for the same exact thing, and also for Leech if I want to solo something that does a lot of damage. And then we go down, a Battle for Nazjatar commendations. I've got 125 of those. And let's see.
Andy,
what's the rarest item you've got? You still got like an urn from Kara?
I might have one of those. I have the Scepter of the Shifting Sands. I have that.
Oh, I don't have that.
Also, I have 2 of the tier 3 tokens. I have the belt and the bracer tokens. The desecrated waistguards and belt.
I almost bought Dreadnought. I was considering it. Going down the road. I had to play a priest in Nax. Dreadnought was so good.
It's the best set. Even now, it looks good. That's what's so insane.
Yeah, Dreadnought's insanely cool.
Yeah. Like, I'd love to see them, like, Honestly, I would love to see an updated version of that set. Like, it would be incredible. Like that.
Well, they did. The other one's all right. The grey and yellow one.
From Nax.
It's okay on a Tauren. It's cool.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, it does look good on a Tauren.
Yeah,
Taurens are sick, man. Like, I feel like when you look at a warrior, I look at every set and I either go, this is a Tauren set or this is a dwarf set.
Yeah,
and that's how I base like if they're good or not.
Makes sense.
What's a dwarf set? There's nothing that looks good on a dwarf.
So false. What's the spiky blue shoulders, Zach?
Where? From where? Like, what do you mean spiky blue? It could be the Antorus Mythic shoulders. For DKs, it could also be the Antorus, the normal mode. What?
Rich was still trying to like give you clues by just doing this all over his body.
Do you
not know what it is now, Asmon?
No. The thing is if you do, it's really fun to name.
Just keep doing that, you'll figure it out.
Yeah, but if you make a generic description of a piece, Zach completely falls down the rabbit hole, and he's got to tell you every single piece that looks like it.
You know that. Well,
that's what you asked.
What was that blue piece? What was that blue piece? And then he's just like, okay, so there are 18 blue pieces, and it's my favorite thing in the world.
Yeah, I don't know which one you mean. There's so many different options it could be.
I know the one that I meant, but then once you started talking, I was like, oh man, this is gonna be
just
good.
gonna let him keep going, huh?
The one in Cataclysm.
The tier is it? Wait, what? Cataclysm? Oh, the Pauldron's Weaving Protection. They're the BOE item that drops from Bastion of Twilight, which is the DK offset gear for tier 11.
No.
He's full of shit.
No, wait, no.
Why would you fall this?
No, I'm opening the game.
He has no idea.
No, I'm opening the game to see what they're called.
Something else.
Go ahead.
It's the best dwarf warrior set. They're blue, and there was a purple one. I'm serious.
You're such a dick.
Is it Dragon Soul? Wait,
I think that was an off piece too, right, Rich?
He has no idea what he's talking about.
No, he has no idea. He's just naming colors.
Talking about. No, I know the set I'm talking. I'm not baiting.
He's just
right
looking
now.
at his own shirt.
I started baiting you. I started
the gray
baiting
one,
no,
the black.
No. Sargeras. I think my warrior's in Sargeras right now. There he is, Bombadil. Loadouts on anyway. Okay, this is. Oh shit, he doesn't have the set on anymore.
Oh, okay.
No, because I started leveling him and he's a Tauren now, so I was wearing the leveling set. I'm gonna fly to the vet. I'm gonna find out what his name is.
Are you kidding me, dude? Are you kidding me? Like,
I feel like you're having a meltdown right now. I'm like actually worried you're not gonna be able to sleep if I don't figure out what the set's called. Here, wait. Is there a way that I can see the set in my bag right now? Appearances. I don't have one.
Are they the Dragon Soul shoulders that come from Spine of Deathwing, the Backbreaker Spalders? Like,
I think it's like Earthen something. Yeah, Earthen Face Guard.
Oh, that's the Earthen Face Guard is the tier 11 set for warriors. It comes from Bastion of Twilight and from the Descent, Blackwing Descent.
Blackwing Descent. Yes,
and there's three different versions
on
of it.
Dwarves. Yes, the red one and the blue one.
Because it looks great on everything. It's a great set.
It's my favorite. It's one of my favorite warrior sets. It does. It looks particularly good on Dwarves. I have a picture.
It's terrible.
It's awesome.
It looks particularly good on Dwarves. That was the whole point of that.
Sure. I actually, honestly, by the time that we got to this, I forgot even what the point was. So
it's a good set. It's a good set on Dwarves.
Before we wrap up and we go into Shadowlands Preach, do you have any advice for anybody who's just, they're coming back to the game? I've had like 50 people message me today. They're coming back to the game for Shadowlands. What advice do you have for them?
It's a total change of how it's been. When you hit cap, do what you enjoy, because most of the important stuff is on a weekly lockout, and you can't cheese the system this time. So you've got over a week to do the important stuff.
Okay.
So explore and find out all these optional things that you enjoy.
So have fun.
And don't buy any gear.
Okay. All right, there you go. Unless you're buying it for me. That one's completely okay. Everything else, no. Yeah. That's pretty much the way I would look at it. And then Castle Nathria doesn't come out for a couple of weeks. So yeah, you can just play and have fun. What an amazing and new concept.
They're going to struggle. They're trying to push that.
Yeah.
Literally, it's all optional besides like a couple of little things.
You're trying to have fun. Yeah.
Well, how much do you think the BOEs are going to cost, though?
Probably like
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Does it, Rich?
I don't know. The BOEs were a lifesaver last time. Like, truth be told, because no, I was playing. It
actually makes sense because if you eat a lifesaver, it lasts for about 30 seconds.
They were
again,
like
with the big numbers.
The exact number.
Yeah, get crunching that math.
Yeah.
I'm not a whale. I'm not a whale. I literally
whale.
You are literally the sperm whale of games.
Okay, I spent a little bit of money on Raid Shadow Legends. I spent a little bit of money on Genshin Impact, a little bit of money on Arcaro, and I buy WoW tokens every now and then. Okay.
All right.
And
I've seen you in the midst of a fever where you're just pouring money into games. I've been there.
Did I tell you about this, Preach? So Rich and I are on a call, and he's showing me. He insists that I watch him play Genshin Impact, and I'm like, okay, all right, fuck, fine. And he's like, do you want to see how the case unboxing goes? And I'm like, I don't know, maybe. He's like, well, I just spent $200, so you've got to watch this now. And I'm like, okay. And so
was it as exciting as Hearthstone packs?
Well, it was relatively exciting, right? Because you'd see the orange one pop up, and I just assumed that was the good one. Except for the orange ones didn't ever really pop up, did they, Rich? Yeah, so then after we didn't have any orange ones pop up for the first time, I'm like, you know what? I've got to go. And Rich is like, wait a minute, Ori, before you go, here, I've got $200 more to spend. Please, man, please, just watch me do this. Because if you watch me do it, I can feel not quite as bad about spending another $200 on this game. And I'm like, oh my God. Okay, fine. And so I stay up late watching Rich open Genshin Impact boxes for like 2 hours. And he's
the nerdiest story, man.
Yeah, and
it wasn't 2 hours, dude. It wasn't 2 hours.
Just spending the night together.
Dude, I got to Luke. I literally have only gotten to Luke when Asmon watches me. Like, I swear, I want to Luke so bad, and I just can't.
To watch me.
It's true. And usually I save when I wish. Usually I save it for stream because people love watching on stream. Like, I swear. I swear they love it.
No, they do. People love
God, I feel like I am justifying an addiction now.
Yes, you got a cardboard cutout of Zach to put next to you so you can talk to him.
Oh, that's
great. He can watch you all day, you know.
Just a looping sound box. Like, there it is, dude. Like,
there it is.
Yes!
With a little high five hand.
Yes. Yeah, dude. But the thing is I have, some people are going to understand this. Most people aren't. I literally have a C7 Mona. I have a C6 Child. I have a C6 Kaching. I have a C5 Chi-Chi. Like, all of my characters are, like, absolutely insane. My Diluc is only Constellation 1.
Wow.
And both of those I pulled when Asmon was watching.
That's such bullshit, Rich, right? Like, how can that happen?
You guys
Asmon is good luck. It's actually Asmon is good luck. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
like,
for
he's
everybody
except
except me.
For everybody except himself. He might not get them out, but if he watches me, I get what I want.
Yeah, that's basically
how it works. I've been working on that fucking Diluc for so long, dude. Like, I feel you right now.
I don't even know what that is.
Fuck you guys. Show's over. Fuck you guys. I'll see you guys in Shadowlands.
All right, guys. Listen.
Fuck you, Breach. I'll talk to you next expansion.
Yeah.
My Diluc will be a D6 or whatever.
Fuck you, dude.
I'm going to win.
Okay, well, look, Preach, I appreciate you coming on the show again, man. And also answering my questions about the hair transplant. I'm certainly
if you have
curious.
More, feel free.
Oh, okay. I definitely will. So, yeah, thanks for coming on, man. It's been great. And honestly, this is our last episode till Shadowlands. So this is definitely another end of a chapter and the beginning of a new one next week. So I am very glad to shut the book on this one for sure. So anyway, guys, thank you all very much for watching. I really appreciate it. Guys, please link Preacher's socials in chat. Go ahead and give him a follow everywhere on there. And as always, we, Rich and I, are going to be doing the Allcraft after show in just a little bit on Rich's show, where we are going to be answering your questions and doing call-ins from you guys, the viewers, and just looking and seeing what you guys have to say. And that's usually what we do. So anyway, guys, thank you all very much for watching. I really fucking appreciate it. Preach, thanks again for coming on.
Always.
For sure.
Good luck in the leveling.
Yeah, thank you. Let me go ahead and sort it out, and I will see you guys later.
Talk to you guys soon.
All right, peace.